sorry,
Yeah,
Ashley.
Sorry about that.
very quickly. There were traditions that I don't remember any African tradition that laid a role on unaliving for gay people. I've never heard of it. Literally never heard of it.
You've not heard of it now?
No, I'm saying back in the day. Because we're talking of the older generation and our parents and tradition. Like it's not tradition, it's not African tradition to unalive gay people. And matter of fact, I can speak for like Yoruba tradition. There's nowhere where, even when we were doing our African religion, or like, I don't know what they call it, and Oya and all those African religion, none of them have like strong rules against same-sex marriage or same-sex unity or whatever you call it. The Igbo tradition, there's some parts of the Igbo tradition where you can get married, a woman can get married to a woman, and now I'm even hearing in the Hausa or the northern traditions, there are men that are allowed to sleep with men.
Can you hear me?
Now we hear you.
Okay. Sorry, one day. Go ahead. I don't know what something was wrong with my mic. Go ahead, one day.
Right. So in Hausa, northern, I don't want to say Hausa because there's a lot of traditions in the north, but in the northern Nigerian tradition, there's a lot of men that are allowed to sleep with men. And in Yoruba tradition, there was nothing like, our traditions are not bigoted towards same sex. So that's why I said this has to be mainly religion. Because even if there was any type of pushback for gay people in the past, it was never so serious that we didn't focus on things like that. And it might sound crazy because of the world we live in now, but there's a lot of things we tolerated back in the day. So I feel like it's more of religion. I don't know if that makes sense. It's more of religion than tradition.
I agree with you one day because
1 second, Jay,
Oh.
please. Guys, it's a different topic today. We are talking about making Africa gay again. Not that it's not. I mean, that's just a something I've just tagged it. There've always been gay people. There will always be gay people. But why the demonizing? Why the criminalizing of gay people? Why?
I'll tell you why, Afro.
No, just 1 second, Bessie. I'm doing this so that I'm trying to invite people who agree with the prompt. So please come up, right?
May I say something? Oh, sorry. Carry on. Sorry.
If you're against, it's okay. If you're against, please come up and let's have a debate. Let's see what the issue is. How is it that your country has rules for the LGBTQ, has laws? Huh? How? How does your country have laws for the LGBTQ? 14 years in Nigeria, Uganda, death sentence for aggravated homosexuality. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Is it okay to come in quickly? Because I was going to say something.
I think Sandy wanted to say something.
Oh, okay. That's
No, sorry, Jay, go on. Jay, it was Jay speaking. Go on.
No, it was Sunday, I think. Was it?
No, I was going to go after, but it's fine. That's
No,
what you
Jay,
can go.
Jay, go on. You were speaking before when I interrupted you. Go on, Jay.
It's okay. I agree with one day, it being about more, I think the reason why there's such a pushback on LGBTQ in Africa being more about religion because a lot of the time when you speak to a homophobic and ask them, why are you homophobic? What is your problem about LGBT Q? They'll say it's unnatural. And what about the modern family? And what about, what about man and man not being able to have kids, and woman and woman not being able to have kids? And it's very interesting when you hear that response, because the same amount of energy that is put into banning LGBTQ in Africa is not the same amount of energy that is being put into children's rights and the protection and safeguarding of young people. Because actually, I think the world as it stands is full of a lot of selfish people, very inconsiderate people who don't think about the implications of having children, bringing a life into the world. And to be quite honest, even if for you it's an unnatural way to nurture a family, to have a family, maybe man and man or woman and woman, I would prefer those children being birthed maybe through surrogacy or adoption, and being being born into or given to a family who is loving and caring and present, rather than a lot of these families that we see daily who are abusive and negligent and don't care about the well-beings of their children. So I think that that's a very archaic sentiment, oh, it's unnatural and man shouldn't be lying together. It should be man and woman because of the reproductive benefits of man and woman. But I think that that's a load of shit, to be honest. I think it's nonsense, because there are so many families who who follow that archetype of man and woman that do nothing for their kids, who actually relinquish their rights as parents because they can't even get it together. So in a modern world, I don't think that sentiment suffices anymore, personally.
I don't believe, I don't, sorry, not believe. I don't agree with what Sandy said when she said that it's something new. We've always had gay people, especially in Africa. We had gay kings and queens. It was normal for men to have side boys.
Sorry, Vessel. Sorry. Ewald Kruger, I am very sorry that you cannot see the people who are talking on YouTube. There's none of us who's on the screen, to be honest. We, there is nobody. I'm the host, and I'm there for Atheists. We've got Vessel of Dishonor. We've got Jay. We've got One Day, the Big Bad Wolf. We've got Sandy Stone and Remy Abraham, I think. So it's just a conversation sort of style. I apologize if you cannot see the things. It's just the way this particular thing works, the vertical platform on YouTube and Facebook. Sorry about that. All right, please continue. I just have to say that.
Oh, sorry, can I correct myself? Sorry, I wanted to say what you just mentioned about what I meant by new. I didn't mean new as in it wasn't there before. What I meant was basically these, all the countries accepting it. So to them, it's like, oh, why should we have to be like all the other countries accepting this particular thing of the LGBTQ? So each country in Africa is all like debating on whichever, each one is saying, we can't do it, etc., etc. That's what I mean by that, because it's become so popular now. You see even men, men and men, kissing on television, which I didn't see in my generation, to be honest. I grew up when Dallas was showing and Dynasty, those Dynasty times, you never saw a man in an advert kissing another guy or in a soap kissing another guy. So it's become so popular and so upfront and out there. So that's what I mean by now all the other countries are accepting it, but then Africa is having a hard time accepting it because they saying, oh, it's something that's in their face. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I personally, to be honest, I be talking for myself, for my family, I got kids. I wouldn't, even if I had grandchildren, I don't have them yet. But when I do, I'd rather they don't. I'll switch the channel if that happens. Say a man and a man kissed. I mean, that's just my personal opinion. I'm not saying whatever, but basically I wouldn't.
So you switch the channel off.
No, I'll change channels. Yeah, I'll change channels to something else if they're young.
At what age will you stop doing that?
What age would I start doing that? Say if they're able to sit down and watch TV, say, I don't know how old they'll be. I don't know. Say, for example, if they're able to read and listen, that's the age of what, 7 maybe, when kids can actually hear and understand a language, when they're able to say mama, baba, whatever. That age, because what they see is what they remember.
To go on a monologue though, Sandy. Can you just wait your turn? Then you can speak when it's your turn to speak.
Okay.
Sorry.
Right. So as I was saying, this is something that was normal. It was embraced within African circles, right? All pre-Africa, pre-colonialism they had okay attitudes towards gender and sexuality. Some African gods have even got 2 genders, right? We see in some cultures, if you talk about their gods, what's this god called? One of the Igbo gods. They don't have male or female. They're both, right? This is something that was celebrated. It was normal. Only religion and colonialism is what made ideologies change against this. However, you even had the colonialists backbreaking and making it seem like it was something evil or something bad. We've always had men dressing up as women. We've always had females ruling. There's some cultures where women marry other women. It's part of our culture. It's nothing new.
Exactly.
Because that society and the media are making it seem like it's something that is, is blowing it out of proportion.
Can we hear from, and thank you for that, Bessel. Remy, you were trying to say something, Remy.
Yeah, I was trying to say something like, there's a bit of a broad brush being painted there because, Africa had over 5,000 different ethnicities, right, before colonialism. So there could have been places, like even in my country, I'm from Kenya, where that, same-sex marriage is a thing. It's always been a thing, right? But then the tribe right next to them, they think it's completely evil, right? And then it's, for their own reasons, right? For them, it's more of an issue of how can we either produce children or do this or do whatever. But then for them, polygamy is okay. In the other community right next to them, monogamy is the thing. In that other community, they're doing different things. So I don't think saying it's normal
Remy,
versus it's the norms of some people.
What do you think? What do you think?
Well, I think, homosexuality and just the LGBT thing, in one way or another, it exists, but then its place in society shifts, right? Because 50 years ago, if you asked the Westerners about this, they would say that this is the worst thing. They have all sorts of punishments for it, right?
Remy, I'm asking about you. What do you think about people who are LGBTQ?
I don't think that they should be locked up or persecuted by the government, especially.
Okay.
Um,
And
I also don't think that
would you fight for the right of people to be LGBTQ?
not necessarily, no. I would fight for them not being discriminated by the government, yes.
Yeah, it's all part of it. Would you fight for the right of an LGBTQ person to be able to live their true identities within your country?
Like I don't know what the true, because there's some people who are like BDSM, they say it's their identity, right? Do I want that? No, right? There's somebody who tells me that they want to do this on like public funding.
Some people
right?
say that BDSM is their identity.
Yeah.
No, it's just
Like, have you ever seen like a parade in, like in America or the UK or like in Europe, where you have these people marching with
BDSM parade?
Yeah, they're marching with the Pride parade at the same time. So you have like I think they call them leather people or something.
And this is their identity.
Yeah, and then there's a whole issue of these people call themselves maps, right? So
who are maps?
People who say that they're attracted to minors, which I'm 100% against that.
That's not what we are talking about here.
No, but like
no, that's not what we are talking about here. We are talking about the LGBTQ, not maps.
No, but there's LGBTQIA plus. It keeps on going and going and going. Like there's so
not maps. Maps should never be brought up in this conversation at all. It's nothing to do with what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. Not at all.
Okay. But like, from my opinion, is very simple, right? I'm not pro. I'm against the anti, right? The government shouldn't be able to come in and tell you what to do.
You're not pro what?
Like, let's say, for example, gay marriage. Like, I'm not gay, so I don't care about gay marriage, right?
So you're not pro gay marriage?
Yeah, like I wouldn't push for like gay marriage to start existing, right?
So why not? Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Because you just said that some communities in your country, same sex were already getting married. So why do you have it?
Not my community, right? Not my community. So it's out of my customs. It's out of my like purview, right? They can do what they want over there.
Listen, I want to know, what is the issue between same-sex couple getting married? What do you think could be the problem?
Okay, because like the purpose of marriage, at least within, let's say, my tradition and my culture, is very simple, right? It's to link two people in a contract, and then all the children they produce are legitimate and they can inherit things, right? That is the purpose, right, of that union, right? But then if that union does not include all these other things, what's the point of, you can sign any type of contract.
Can I ask a question, Afro?
Yeah.
Is that the purpose of every single union, every single heterosexual union? Is that the purpose of every heterosexual marriage that exists?
Probably not. No, some people have like green card marriages and, like whatever.
Okay, forget the green card marriages. I'm talking about for some people who don't actually envision children as a part of their journey.
Uh-huh. Look, in my
their purpose invalid.
In my culture and those society, there's literally a different like situation set up for them, right? We don't call it marriage. We call it like, I don't know how you say, home building, right? So you can home build or you can get married. We have a distinction between those two things.
Okay.
Home building. What is home building? How are you home building?
I'm trying to translate it from like the Luya language into.
I have the
sorry, what culture are you from?
I'm a Luya from Kenya. We also exist in Uganda and like Tanzania.
Okay, and they have a different take on marriage.
Yeah.
Because I've never heard that take before.
Yeah. So, for example, like, you know, you can have two elderly people, right, who basically won't have kids, right? But then they want to take care of each other.
Okay.
Yep.
So there's that situation, and there's like a whole.
Can
Like,
young
it's not,
people also do that?
yes, but then the assumption is that you're either barren or incapable of like having kids. But even if, let's say, you said, okay, I just want to do this, right, and we're not going to have kids, we're not going to have whatever, but we're going to be one household. That's fine.
So I don't know if there's anyone on the panel who disagrees. Iconic, Gordy, any of you disagree?
I have a question for him.
Just 1 second. I really want to have a conversation because I don't know with Remy. It's like he's here, he's there.
I think Yardi, maybe.
Yardi or Iconic.
Because I want to speak
Not
to
from the
you.
panel because I don't disagree with the prompt.
You don't
I
disagree.
think Yardi might.
Yeah, I don't disagree with the prompt.
What do you
yeah.
know? All right. Yardi, do you disagree? Oh, Iconic is good. Yardi, hey, African Atheist. Yardi, are you there? Let's see if we can send you the thing.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, okay. What was the disagreement and now? What if I disagree with what?
Disagree with the prompt? Make Africa gay again?
Yeah, I disagree with it.
Why?
That's what you're doing there now is like a carpet agreement in saying Africa has been gay.
Yes, Africa has always been gay.
No.
Yes.
Nope.
Yes, it has.
Remember there's tribes of women who marry women. Why did they marry the woman? Not for sexual gratification, but they marry because they don't have a wife, they don't have a husband, and they want to, like most of them are farming, and they marry them for help, to help them.
How do you know when the door was closed, it wasn't anything sexual between them?
Because that was not their mindset.
How do you know that though? How can you vouch for that?
No, I can't vouch for that 100%, but I can say that's what it is done for.
No, there
Well,
were.
and the cover and the front line, that is what the situation is. That's what it's done for. It's like culturally.
Yeah, but behind closed doors, you don't know what goes on. Listen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have children, Yardi?
Oh yeah. Children is the future, man. You gotta have children.
So if any of your children came to you and said, "Daddy, I am LGBTQ," what would your response be?
At what age?
The age of being able to make
Solid decision. What age do you think that is?
like 18 plus.
If they come 18, say they are that, I'll be like, go do your thing.
So you wouldn't have a problem with it.
What if it's like 12? You know, they start puberty and all of that stuff. They start having feelings at 12 years old.
Then that kid is being I would believe she or he has been influenced by somebody around them.
No, but when you were 12, who influenced you? Born loving a man, born loving a man. Why does it have to have influence in it?
I don't think nobody is born gay.
Yes, you are.
They are the same way you were born heterosexual. It's the same way people are born gay.
If you do your research, the research will prove to you that over 90% of
what research? Where's the data?
Just do your research.
No, where's the data?
I can't point on it now, but I've done some. I don't know the exact.
No, but you said you've implored us to do the research. So where is the data from the research that you have done?
I would have to go on the computer and do some more.
You don't have
look
any
up and show
results.
you.
You don't have any
Not right now.
because actually the matter, the fact is, if a heterosexual, bearing in mind this is all based on sexuality, if a heterosexual person can be born with feelings for the opposite sex, then a homosexual person could also be born with the feelings that they have for same sex. It's not something.
I think there's influence.
There could be influence along the way. There's lots of people who've dated men their entire lives and decided, you know what, actually, let me try my own sex. Fine, that's a completely different case. But we're talking about people who were born from the beginning being homosexual. But that's incomprehensible. Hold on, let me just finish first. That's incomprehensible to people like yourself, Yardi, because you're a heterosexual and you believe that the heteronormative way to think is that the homosexual way of thinking or feeling is unnatural.
Are you gay?
No, I'm not. But I could date a woman if I wanted to.
Yeah, I would never even think of that in a million years. It wouldn't even pass my mind.
But that's
date
you,
a man.
and like I've said, you are.
That mean that you're not heterosexual.
Oh, I might not be. I might be bent. I've never explored. I've never explored sleeping with a woman or being with a woman, but I wouldn't be opposed to it if that's the type of love that I find.
But what is the love that you're finding in that? What would it be? All right. Say.
Have you tried it with another man?
For what?
No. So how do you know that you won't like it?
Because I know it's built in me, my heart, my soul, everything. What the hell am I gonna do in shit?
No.
What am I gonna do in shit? That's the point. Straight up, it's all sexual. Okay. Think about it. I'm a man. I defecate. I don't even want to touch my finger. Mostly I'm gonna put my freaking member that produce children in where I wouldn't even put my finger.
So have you had the prostate examination?
No, I don't. I don't need it.
What do you mean you don't need it?
I just don't need it.
Don't you know that prostate cancer is the #1 killer of men in the world?
Well, guess what? The one who isn't taking care of themselves, I'm good. When God take me, he take me. The point is this, I don't need it. Look, I love my woman to death. I'm a man, I'm a heterosexual male, okay? I don't have no problem with gay people. You see what I'm saying? No problem. Let me explain it to you.
When I asked you that
because my ass is an exit sign. If you bend me over, if you bend me over and look up my ass, you will see a sign say exit only. You see what I'm saying? With 2 AK-47 or something.
Well, you know? So hold on. So I can say you put a sign for your ass, brother.
No, God put it there. God put it there for me.
So God put a sign for your ass, exit only.
Yeah, exit only. Exit only.
Wait, voila. So God look on you.
Yep,
right?
Me.
And touch your ass and put a big sign in the ass. Right?
Yep.
So exactly. Brother,
what you mean big sign? Why it have to be a big sign?
You just say one sign say exit only, don't it?
Yep, exit only.
So you make God touch your bottom?
Oh, you mean me make God touch me? God not touch your body. God not touch yours. Wait, God not touch yours. No, he create you. He not touch yours.
No, my mother.
He not touch yours.
No, I was born, not created.
So wait, you tell me say you
God touch your bottom?
Yeah, man, God touch my body.
My blood and skirt them, brother. So that means say you go sideways to one.
Because he create me.
Brother, you're move sideways, man.
You are moving that circle.
My blood and skirt, brother. You are gonna complain, but you alert. You don't want them something to touch you, but you make something else to touch you on your something.
Oh wait. How me if you know when me are being created? When me being created?
Brother, you just
me not talk when me a grown man, you know. Me talk when me are being created. When me are being created, me can't stop nothing from. So you have to put this here, there, so put this here, there, so
How you get
put this here,
created?
there, so.
Hold on. How you get created?
Me get created by sperm and egg.
Rascal, it's not created, but since you're born, you don't get created.
It no matter, create me get create. Create me get create.
You're Patry.
Me what?
You're Patry. You're Patry.
Patry. What? Me a battery.
Like you're Patry.
Me a
like you get created by like a pot.
a what?
Eh,
A pot.
You get molded.
Molded. I don't
Yeah.
know. Me just farm.
Alright, see that nonsense you talk, brother.
Hey, yo, you
Nonsense
can talk
you
what
talk,
you're
Bridget.
talking. So what may I say? What you're saying for the Batman thing?
Alright, my saying is that it's only natural.
And natural for you.
I'm sorry. Who teach him to be that way?
Wait, you a Batman?
No, I'm straight.
All right, you're straight. All right,
No,
now you
who
tell me
teach
say
him to be straight?
Batman
Who
is
teach him to be straight?
a
Who teach you?
normal thing.
Hold on. Who teach you to be straight?
Yo, my guy, who teach you to be straight?
Huh?
Who teach you
You
to
don't
be
think
straight?
say the same way how you turn out to be straight? It's the same way how they turn out to be gay?
No.
I'm sorry, what?
Nope.
Hold on. All right, you and I come from the same Jamaica land we love, right? Who
Yes,
teach those
sir.
guys to be gay?
Yo, one heap of them getting molested.
All right, then stop and nice them, man.
Heap of them get
Brother, stop
molested.
and nice, man.
One
Fuck your
heap
chat, man.
of them get molested.
Hold on. Wait,
Woman are molested bikini.
can I
Man are
interrupt
molested
Stop and
quickly?
nice,
bikini.
man. Let your chat fuck him, man.
And Nebulous.
You are talk.
Yardi
You are
and
talking because
Nebulous.
you want to go that way.
Hello?
Brother,
Yardi and Nebulous. Can you hear me? On
Yeah.
this live, we will not be using any homophobic slurs, even if it's in
Right.
patois.
I'm sorry.
It's unacceptable.
Okay.
So you can
All
carry on, but leave the homophobic slurs out of it, please. Thank you.
Okay. Right. So as the lady said, you can't call them people them type of way, Richard. I mean, you know what I mean? Those people wasn't molded that. These people are just naturally like that, Richard.
And also,
So you are going to talk about them something. You must curse your God. Your God is the problem.
Yeah, the experience some really problematic views right now, saying that they have been molested, and that's completely false. Do you have any evidence to back that up, Yardi? Do you have any evidence to back up that claim? Because to throw things out there saying that the LGBTQ are that way because they've been molested, that's unless you
A
can.
lot of them.
Do you have any sources? Where do you get that notion from?
He can't answer you because that's a bigoted response. But I want to ask Yardi, were you molested by a woman, a female?
He must have been molested by a female. That's why
because that's the only way that you can actually acquire an attraction to the opposite or same sex if you're molested as a child, it seems.
No.
Because once again, the
Nope.
nuances that exist around sexuality.
Whatever. Only problem I have is that putting it in school and making it a norm. That's child abuse. To my
brother, is it natural?
My thing.
Is those
What's natural?
people? Are those type of people in the world?
They are.
Okay. So why not teach them? Is it what school is there for?
What are they teaching in schools though?
Exactly. They don't teach something like that. They're not teaching.
If you're in America, If you're in
Brother, we are
America,
talking.
if you're in the United States, if you're in the United
Brother.
may I go by what? May I go by what area where me there?
What conservative news tell you?
May I talk
Brother,
about?
capitalize by
I'm talking about.
Nebulous.
Yo, I have children.
Hold on.
Really?
Yardi,
Brother, we are
what are
talking.
they teaching in schools? What are they teaching in schools? What are they teaching in schools?
There are books that they've been putting out in school showing basically explicit things to children, about Johnny and John and Jane.
Give me an example.
Look it up, you'll find
Give
it.
me an example.
The point is this, that's what they've been doing in the United States.
Brother. When you are talking, so let's bring up example, brother. Bring up example, brother.
So
I start to go out of your God.
would Yardi
go.
exit books about heterosexuality then? Yardi, would you get the books if it were about a man and a woman? If it was those type of books,
what did you say?
The types of books that you're talking about, would they be okay if they were about a man and a woman?
No, not showing explicit pictures and things like that. No, I don't think a young child
for me,
should be introduced to
those
such things at that age.
I was exposed to those books and those pictures.
They can't have books.
Everybody was.
Yeah, but you didn't expose to no woman and man having sex.
They can't have books that are explicit in schools. That is not true. Unless
where are you? Where are you? Where are you? Where do you live?
Unless
where do you live?
Everything I call internet, project. Everything I call internet. You can find any book we are talking about. No matter what she live, she can know these things.
Where do you live? Where do you live?
Listen, unless
go ahead.
Unless the things they teach you in your biology class, right? Showing you the anatomy and the parts of the body. But otherwise, they're not showing anything.
Where do you live?
Anything
where do you live
that is explicit.
I know. Where do you live? That's what I'm asking you. Where do you live? Where? Which country?
Where you live?
Which country? Which country you live?
All right, me too.
Me in the United States.
Me too.
And you tell me say them now do that?
Tell me what I do.
Maybe you go with part me there. In Washington.
DC or state? All right, what are they doing over there? What are they doing over there?
State. Them have schools that they're
like
showing kids,
what do they show?
putting out books that
like
are showing explicit.
Are they kissing? Are they naked? What are they doing? What?
Yes,
where?
yes. Naked.
Where?
Look it up.
All right,
look it up.
Naked stuff, Bridget. It's called an anatomy book. What you talking about?
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking that story book.
You know what, Yardi? You know what? It's really unfortunate because I think that you're a victim of WhatsApp University. And what ends up happening is that people are misinformed and they spread information.
Yeah. WhatsApp University? What are you talking about?
WhatsApp
you think University. Me listen to me. I just don't talk just to talk, you know?
You answer your own, not class.
Because the thing is
example of what you're talking about.
You as a Jamaican and a heterosexual male, okay? As a Jamaican and as a heterosexual male. All right. You are telling me, say, all right, someone in your family gay or something.
Me believe in equal rights and justice.
That's why. Me believe in that.
So even if somebody
push one
something. You guys need to let me speak. Nebulous. Did he just ask you whether someone in your family did something to you? Did he just ask you that?
That's he just
No.
That's what he just did.
Yadi, come on now.
Man, stop lying, man.
Brother,
I never asked if someone in their family do something to you.
You're Christian?
Wait. Me never ask you if anybody y'all like. Me never ask you if someone do something to
Oh,
you.
do something
That's
to
not
me.
what
No,
I
no, no.
said.
You didn't ask me. You asked me if somebody in my family is LGBT. That's what you
Oh,
asked.
okay. I thought I heard.
Oh,
Oh,
me never
sorry.
ask if somebody do nothing to
No,
him.
no.
No.
you
Okay,
didn't
I
say that.
thought that was what I heard. Please, let's
No,
let's
not at
not
all.
let's not. Okay, all right. Sorry about that. I
But the
thought that
point I
was
matter,
No, no.
the point I matter, Bridget. What one I can
Yeah,
talk
man.
Nebulous, 1 second. Please, 1 second. I need to respond to somebody. Psychoteric, you're asking a question. You're saying, so what, you say, what
the end
is
game.
The end
The
game.
end game.
what
Yeah, I
is the
saw that.
end
Yeah.
game? Wait, let's see. Wait, let me see. Where's that? You're asking what is the end game of I can't find it anymore. So what is the end game? Who's talking about games?
They asked Afro, what is the end game of Africa becoming gay? Or no, Africa accepting people who are gay, basically.
How is this a game and an end to the game when this is people's real lives? We are talking about some countries have the death sentence. The death sentence for aggravated homosexuality. Your Nigeria has 14 years behind bars. And you're talking about the end game. The end game is that people are going to be suffering needlessly. Lives are going to be taken. Your government cares more about what people are doing with their private parts than the many millions of people that are living in poverty. Your government would rather focus on who is sleeping with who than to feed its own people. You don't have universal health care. You don't have the basic amenities. You don't have that. You don't have power, electricity. Oh, but your government, when it comes to who's sleeping with who, oh my, that's where you will see them. What end game?
Can I add to what you were saying as well, Afro? Because I just want to reiterate what I said earlier, and then I'm gonna actually come down. So I've got to wind down for the night. But what we are seeing is the governments of Africa becoming once again consumed by their indoctrination and their religious beliefs. Because if you sit down and ask any of these politicians passing these laws, why is it a problem? What is the reason why somebody who chooses to love the same sexes should be condemned to death, unaliving, sorry? A lot of the time their response will be it's unnatural, or the standard family should be man and woman. We heard Yardi saying earlier, you've got to have kids, right? And I would implore a lot of these African governments to stop focusing on what people decide to do with their family dynamics, what people decide to do with their private parts, and start focusing on the actual children that they are encouraging families to have. Because there aren't enough laws that safeguard children in Africa. There isn't enough in the systems that protect children, the children that you're encouraging, man and woman, the heteronormative way of having a family. When they have those children, you're not safeguarding them, you're not caring for them properly. We have young people being abused daily in these same heteronormative families, people who are being neglected, and it's because they've been born into a male and female marriage, male and female partnership, whatever you want to call it. So I think that the priorities are wrong. The priorities are a mess. And that is because a lot of the men who are hyper masculine in government are actually closeted. A lot of them are so scared to actually let
All
the
right. Do you have the data for that? As you're asking for data about the hyperactive men
I don't
being
need data,
closeted?
Hold on,
Yardi, and
Dr.
I'm not
Hold
finished.
on.
Don't interrupt
Hold
me.
on.
Yadi, I know many
I'm
men
not
in
finished.
politicians are
Hello, hello. I'm not finished.
homosexual. Is a
Thank,
fact.
thank you, Derek. I appreciate that, but I'm not finished.
What did Derek say?
Derek is
Sure.
just reaffirming my point.
Oh, okay.
You
Yardi, can
guys
you
want
mute,
me to give
please?
you data? You want me to give you?
Yardi, can you
Yeah,
mute,
but
please?
you haven't given any data as yet.
Right. As I was saying, a lot. And the thing is, do you see that the only time that he piped up, even after I quoted him, the only time he piped up is when I am bringing to the forefront that some men are closeted.
Yeah.
That resistance, that immediate urge for resistance proves my point. Why?
I know some men are
No,
closeted.
I'm not finished. Don't interrupt me again. I'll drop you like a
Okay,
fly.
okay, no problem.
Well,
Fly
she'll drop
anything.
you like a fly, yo.
Okay, like I said, every single time I've ever had these types of conversations with very hyper masculine African men, it is because I have seen a glimmer, right, of fear. I've seen a glimmer of insecurity, and that insecurity lies with, actually, this might be a natural feeling, but because of religion, because of Leviticus, because of Sodom and Gomorrah, because exit only, right? I don't want to explore those feelings. I don't want to let those feelings marinate. I don't want to act on those feelings. And actually, before I go, there is some research that if you would like to do, you can. But the way that you can actually control a man is by entering that orifice in the behind. And that's the problem. If you want to control a man, if you want to
land?
pardon?
Are you about to land?
Yes.
Okay.
If you want to control a man, you can enter that orifice from behind. And that is the problem. A lot of men don't want to feel weakened. They don't want to feel emasculated. And being with somebody who's of the same sex will potentially do that. So that's the problem. That resistance that's where that resistance comes from.
You think so?
Security. I know so.
How do you know so? Are you a man?
know so.
Are you a man?
It's a shame.
You say it have to do. You say it have to do with fear.
Yadi, one
You
second.
say-
It's a shame. It's a shame that
okay.
many of these men will deny themselves something that they just might enjoy. But you deny
Okay,
because
Afro.
of your internalized.
Afro.
Hold on, no. You deny yourself because of your internalized homophobia.
Are you talking to me?
No, I'm not talking to you.
Afro.
Okay, well, you say internalize because
I was
homophobia.
not talking to you. I wasn't talking to you.
Yeah, but I'm a man,
Yadi,
and I
no,
can
wasn't
tell
talking
you.
to-
I
wasn't
know,
talking to you.
I know. But I say I'm a man, and I know for a fact that I don't have that fear.
But do you know that your the G spot is down there?
Well, guess what? It can stay there. But my G, when I bust a nut, I am perfectly fine. I don't need no other stimulation or anything like that. So in the thing of you saying what's her name? J that okay. You're saying that fear of being controlled and anything. Which man want to be controlled? Any masculine heterosexual man or any man. Well, maybe somebody else, but want to be controlled.
Yeah, some men want to
that's
be
why it's called.
dominated, love.
That's why.
You may be a hyper masculine man, but some men want to be dominated, love.
Yeah. Some men want to do that because that is. It's all about sexual. Yeah.
Hold on.
Go ahead.
Some men pay. They pay to be
They
dominated.
literally do.
Oh yeah, that's weirdos.
Money, and not small money, good money. And the people, these men, they're not the weaklings of society. They're not the riffraffs. No,
they're the big boys in Canary Wharf that are investment bankers.
Yeah, but that don't make them anything.
Big pastor too. A big pastor.
Pastors.
Oh, me know.
Afro.
Yes,
me know.
Afro. I've
I've
experienced prostrate orgasms before.
What? Okay,
I experienced it many times.
Please, can we code the words, please? That's
oh, Derek, you're one of them.
Yadi, no, Yadi, Yadi, no, this is not. Please stay out of this.
Hold on. So if he's LGBT,
hold on.
what is your business? What is your business?
No problem. Because I talk. That's why him can't experience him have.
Come on, time man.
Okay. Derek, are you saying that you've had the big O from that side, from the back?
Yes, I have.
I
have.
Really?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
And it's so amazing. If many men could actually be open-minded to trying out having that prostrate stimulated, man. It's so amazing.
Psychoteric, are you listening? Psychoteric. Tell you they hear. They tell you. Oh wow!
I wanted to mention because I've heard two people talk about multiplying and having kids. It's almost like their excuse for not accepting it or whatever is having kids, and it doesn't make sense because gay people can have kids.
Absolutely,
Being doesn't stop you from producing the things that you require to have kids. There are sperm banks, there are egg donors, like there's a bunch of things you can do. So it still doesn't make sense. And these kids that you're so worried about, there's a bunch of them in the orphanage. How many of them have you picked up?
Exactly, one day. Exactly.
I have mine.
Kids. It doesn't matter. There are people giving birth to kids and dropping them.
Yeah.
Right.
There's a lot of sickness in this world.
We can the world.
Are you a Christian, Yardman?
The world is in.
I am.
This is why.
But I don't call myself Christian.
So what are you?
I am one who follows the Christ. That's it.
Christian.
I don't use the word Christian.
You're Christian. So you believe
I'm Mosaic. I'm Mosaic.
Whatever it is, no business. So no, you believe everything in the Bible?
Yeah.
All right. You know the story of David?
Yes.
Said David was an LGBTQ person.
If you say so, where you see that?
Afro. You know the Bible better. What verse was
it?
No. Him and that one guy, Jonathan.
Yeah, he loved Jonathan. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't think so?
What does love have to do with sex? That's the point. You guys are putting love and sex in the same.
Were they not naked together?
Okay, why were they naked?
Sir, hold on.
Yeah, tell the story. Tell me. Tell the whole story.
Tell me
the whole story.
When last you and your brother naked together in one boat?
When we did a river.
Hold on. So you and one next man, the river naked?
Yeah.
Blows on the skirt, brother. Brother, you don't see nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, naked with gal and man
Well,
naked
no,
with a
no,
swim.
no.
You know you call
No,
that
no,
you call
no,
that skinny dipping.
no. Brother, you say you and your virgin alone. Yeah, river.
I never
But
tell you
I
me I'm a virgin alone.
Brother, I ask you that and you say yes, you and your virgin. You don't come
Me
with that
say
stuff.
yes with other gal and all them thing there.
No, you add that afterwards. So all right then. So you and your you and your virgin was like close together with the
Well, we have it close
naked.
together for what? We man over there so
So
I over here so I
so
sleep
in
with
your
a gal.
Bible, so in your Bible, David and Jonathan was very close to that wrap up that same bed. You don't think that's not LGBT?
Where you find that, please? Please tell me where in the Bible you find that?
Bridget,
Look at, no. Tell me where in the Bible you find that.
The verses?
You know
I
the
don't
verses.
know the
You
verses.
bring it up. Tell me the verse.
I know the stories. I know the stories. I don't know the verses. If anybody know the verses,
a story where you want. No. Yeah, please, somebody bring that when Jonathan and David naked in a bed wrap up. Anyone listening, if you can find that? Okay, let me straighten this. Okay, the thing is this. Me don't have no problem with homosexual people. What me have problem is when they freaking push it on the kids.
Nobody pushes homosexuality on the kids. Nobody pushes homosexuality on the kids. Do you understand what sexual orientation means?
All right, let me ask you a question, Derek.
Yeah, ask me a question.
Derek, where are you from?
Nigeria.
Where are you from?
Nigeria.
Yeah, where are you from?
I'm from Nigeria.
Nigeria. Okay, okay. You were born homosexual?
I'm bisexual.
And don't lie.
Yeah, I'm bisexual.
No, you were. Oh, okay. Well, all right. All right. Why did you get into the homosexual lifestyle? Just to make some
No,
money?
I didn't get into the homosexual life because I want to get some money. I've never even gotten money from the homosexual life.
Listen, hold on, wait. Yardi, hold on. Everyone be quiet. Everyone be quiet. Yardi, you're being very rude.
No, it's okay.
I'm asking a question. I'm asking. Yeah, no, that was not.
Hold on.
No, it's okay. Let him ask his question.
No. Because you've seen someone who is LGBTQ it's not the avenue for you to ask those kind of questions.
No. You're the one being defensive for Derek. Derek know how to answer himself.
No. I need you to be sensitive, right?
Those
kind of questions.
Okay, no.
Please. I don't want that. Why would you get into something like this? Can you stop it, please? Nobody asked.
No, I am sorry if I offended anyone in saying that. That was not my intention.
Yardi, can you please listen? No one is asking you what caused you to start being heterosexual. So why would you be asking him those kind of questions? If you want to ask him any questions, please be sensitive, right? Please, he doesn't owe you any answers at all. Please, can we be respectful of one another? I beg you. Guys, can we share the live stream, please? Tap.
Okay.
Okay, so Yardi, to answer your question, no one actually, I just found myself attracted to both genders naturally. Just the way you found yourself naturally attracted to the opposite gender, I found myself attracted to both gender. So I'm not entering into that lifestyle because of the money. I've not gotten money from it. I've entered it for just pleasure and love. Like, I love both genders, so I can't help it. So it's not for the money or anything. It's like it's sexual. There's what we call sexual orientation. You understand? So just the way you are straight is the same way, and you find yourself liking women, is the same way people like men like men, women like women. Naturally, no one entered for you. You're just following the rhetoric that people get into homosexuality for the money. That's a wrong rhetoric.
No. I didn't think that you did that. I was, because you guys were talking about the high rollers and everything like that, and you have something to say on that. That's why I said that. I just asked that question.
Okay.
It wasn't to insult you or anything
and you were
like
saying
that.
I wanted to correct you on something. You were saying that politicians do not engage in homosexuality.
No,
in Nigeria,
I didn't say that.
Here, I can tell you that many politicians are into that lifestyle. Many politicians are down low. Many politicians' wives even know that they are even into homosexuality and they are cool with it.
Oh, I believe that.
But because we are ostracized, because our voices are not being heard, everybody lives closeted.
Problem. That's a big problem.
What do you people really want?
Like, that's why this
you want like
disease
you want like a situation where they are like, what's it called?
I didn't get you.
Who was muted just now?
That wasn't me. That was someone else.
Okay, can we hear from Psychoteric? I want to hear what Psychoteric has to say.
Okay.
Psychoteric? Psychoteric, can you unmute yourself?
He's mute.
We can hear you now.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, great. So I'm not saying that anybody being gay is bad. You understand? I'm not saying that being gay is any, because I'm not concerned. I'm straight, for crying out loud. But my point here is that there is no use pushing it to the face of others, because like you said now, it's by choice. I chose to be heterosexual.
It's not by choice. It's what you are. It's like it's an orientation. Did you choose to be straight?
Bro,
you didn't choose to be straight. You just found yourself naturally attracted to women when you approached puberty.
Okay,
you found yourself naturally attracted to the opposite gender. It's the same way I found myself attracted to the same gender.
Wait, so hold on.
You.
Psychoteric. Can you tell us how is anyone pushing it in your face?
No, I will come back to that, but I want to ask Derek one question.
Okay.
Did anybody teach you how to engage in intercourse?
No. You just experiment and do.
Psychoteric, I would just warn you to be careful with what you want to say. I've already muted you in the comments for what you were asking one day. Somebody's sexuality is none of your business. Also, be careful.
In the same way.
Okay?
Okay, no problem.
No problem.
Careful, okay, you are saying now that nobody taught you. You experimented.
Psychoteric.
Yeah.
The kind of questions that you are asking, right?
Yes.
Nobody's asking you those kind of questions. So please be very careful. In fact, what we're going to do, any questions you ask, we will have to turn the tables around on you and ask you the same question as well. Okay?
No, but at least you should answer my questions first before you turn it to me. Then I'll answer.
Right? Why does he have to answer?
It will be like a what's it called? A reflective engagement.
No.
I ask a question, you answer, then you turn it back.
Okay.
So here's the thing. Here's my point. I'm not saying that. What's it called?
Before you continue, how did you know that you are heterosexual?
How do I know that I was heterosexual? It's just the same way I asked my initial question, which I will not repeat because of the guidelines you just gave. So it's like basically you
were heterosexual.
It's normal. It's the norm.
How now? How did you know?
In the same way I see a what's it called, the opposite sex, and then I realized that I'm attracted to the opposite sex. So that is how it works. And then you know bodily
So that is the
changes.
same way I saw the same sex and got attracted to the same sex. The same way you found out that you were attracted to the opposite sex is the same way I found out I was attracted to the same sex.
Okay, good. Now here's my point. My point is this: that I'm not saying that you being the opposite sex and you being homosexual is bad. You get my point. I'm not saying it is bad. I'm not saying that, you know, when you see an homosexual person, you should kill the homosexual person, you should imprison the homosexual person. I'm not saying that.
Uncle,
all I'm saying is
unalive.
Unalive,
not
okay,
unalive.
Okay, sorry about that. Unalive the person, you understand? Because basically, if you read through, you know, the historical precedents of African societies, you realize that there are actually certain societies that practice such acts, and you know, it's, you know, it was more or less like the kind of things you see in the movies. I think there is a if you read through the Egyptian mythology, there are actually case studies of same-sex.
Yeah, we even had African kings. We had African kings that were bisexual and gay. In Uganda, there was a gay king. He was exiled by the British because
no problem. I understand. I know that one.
No. When you're talking, people are allowing you to talk. Stop interrupting him. I know that you feel uncomfortable, but can you let Derek
finish? He interrupted
finish?
me now. Hello, he interrupted me. I had not finished talking before he spoke.
Okay. All right. Go on, Psychoteric. Go on, Psychoteric.
Yes. So my point is this: in as much as I do not.
Psychoteric, one second. J-Log put something very interesting in the comments. Humans are naturally sexually curious and fluid. There's nothing There's nothing wrong in trying things out, in wanting to know, right? You're born with these things. What can you do? Where can it go? Where can it be put in? What can be put in here? You know, these are things that should not. Yadi.
So someone asked a question. How is it a choice?
You see how Yadi is laughing now. Yadi.
I've said it several times that you do not choose to be gay or homosexual. It's inbuilt. It's like you just find yourself attracted to women. You didn't choose to be attracted to women.
Let me ask you one question. Do you know that two things can be true? Do you accept that two things can be true?
Two truths.
Two truths exist. Do you accept that?
Okay, so
now the first truth now is that, do you know that people actually develop homosexual feelings at a very early stage of life? Do you know that? Now go and read about. If you don't know, go and read about Oedipus complex.
I said I know because I experienced that at an early age too.
Here's the thing. Good. Now, when people now develop that homosexual, feelings, do you know any of the people begin to choose? People decide to choose that. Oh, despite this feeling, I'm going to suppress that feeling and then activate.
Okay, yes, I tried to suppress. I tried to suppress that feeling too because I was religious back in the. Let me just. I'm trying to support what you're trying to say. I tried to when I found myself attracted to the same sex. When I found myself attracted to the same sex, I tried to suppress the feeling too because it was against my religious doctrine. I was Christian then, though I'm atheist now. It was against my religious doctrine. And I said, you know what? I like ladies. I could just, forfeit my pleasure with men and just stick to ladies only. I did deliverance. I prayed. I fasted. But you know what? The heart just wants what the heart wants. It is just a natural thing. It comes. The more you pray and the more you suppress it, you can even suppress it. There are people who choose to suppress it, but it doesn't change the fact that you're still attracted to that same gender.
But you chose. But at the end of the day,
the fact that you don't act on your attraction doesn't mean you're not attracted to the same gender. There are Christians today that I know that they have the same sex attraction. They have same-sex attraction, and they choose not to. They choose to be celibate. Like this guy, Donnie McLaughlin. Donnie McClurkin has been struggling with homosexuality, and he said he has been delivered from homosexuality, but he is not married, and he still says he still has the urge to have same-sex with the same gender. So the fact that you choose to suppress it, it doesn't change the fact that you are still attracted to the same gender.
Okay, so here's my one point. My point is this: that at the end of the day, even as we have closeted homosexuals, like there is no need for the government to actually what's it called, criminalize these individuals. But what I'm just against is the fact that what's it called, giving more voice, like, because they already have the voice. It's just like Nigerians are hypocrites.
Which one is giving more voice? We don't have a voice.
See,
we don't have a voice.
Nigerians are hypocrites. There are many homosexuals around.
We don't have a voice.
Which voice?
I have been. There was a day I was driving. There was a day. Let me give an example. We don't have a voice. There was a day I was driving from work, going back home, and police stopped me, and they said, am I a Yahoo boy? Because maybe I'm driving a car and I have a phone, I have an iPhone and everything. So they were harassing me. Where are you from? I was telling them, I'm coming from work. What do I do for work? I told them, this is what I do for work. I'm a pharmaceutical rep. They said, it's a lie. They searched my car. Next thing, where is your phone? They just took my phone from me. You understand? And they checked my phone and they found me sending messages to my partner, and they found out that I was gay, and they extorted 500K from me. So we don't have a voice. If you think we have a voice, you are delusional. We do not have a voice. So the same privileges you have as a straight man, as a heterosexual man, we also want to have the same privileges: freedom to love, freedom to express ourselves publicly, freedom to marry who we want to marry. That is why we are called minorities. So we fight for the voice we want to be heard. So we don't have a voice. Psycho. We don't have a voice.
What is that? Nebulax, we come back to you now.
Hold on, you're not done.
What? Nebula. What is it? Nebulax?
Yeah. Nebulous.
No.
Nebulous.
Inside the Bible, there's no mention of David and none of that is in there.
Are you finished, dear? Because I don't know why Yardi's jumping in that way. Derek, are you finished?
Yeah, I'm finished. I thought Yardi wanted to ask me a question.
No, he wanted to derail the conversation and start talking back to Nebulous.
Okay.
Derek, would you like to respond?
The thing is, yes, I would like to respond. I understand. Here's the thing. Actually,
hold on. Yardi wants to talk about David and Jonathan. Well, how about Jesus and his 12 boyfriends? How about that? Why don't you ever talk about
He brought it up before. What was that?
I said, what about Jesus and his 12 boyfriends?
Who, Jesus what?
Jesus and his 12 boyfriends. Why don't you want to talk about that?
Listen, you want to attack the Bible and all of that? That is on you.
Simple question.
No, that is on you. That is on you. Look, I don't know about that.
Why was he naked?
I don't know about that. Who was naked?
Is that normal?
Who was naked?
Jesus.
Who was naked?
Jesus.
Really?
Yes.
How was he naked?
He only had a towel wrapped around his waist. And after he finished washing their feet...
Where did he only have a towel wrapped around his waist?
Read your Bible, man.
Yo, stop talking, you bull. That's what I'm telling you.
Read your Bible.
You're talking. You're just talking.
Read your Bible. That Bible is full of bull. Jesus was even caught with a naked boy in the garden.
But why is he getting so irate though? Why is he getting so upset? I don't understand.
Yes, a naked boy.
We're now going into the Bible now.
Yeah, get telling me. Read the Bible, man. It's a naked boy in there.
Yo, me know what. Yo, let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
Your Jesus was a PDF.
Your
You see,
you basically muting him because you can't hear the facts.
Bible, Yadi, read your Bible.
No, but the thing is, if someone is torn from them,
you're missing out on Jesus.
If someone is kept from away and been taken prisoner, and then they tear your clothes off and they tie you up and whatever, you got no control of what they're gonna put on you. And if you
that's what I'm saying.
They tore his clothes in pieces.
No, what are you talking about, Sandy? What are you talking about?
No,
she's telling you facts.
Nobody took that naked boy.
No, I was trying.
What are you talking about?
I was trying to answer.
Where's the naked boy?
I'm trying to be calm and I'm trying to answer you. That's
Mark
all.
14. Read Mark chapter 14. He was
all right. Mark chapter 14.
Who just had a bed sheet wrapped around his shoulders. Nobody took him prisoner. I'm not talking about that.
Oh, okay. All right. No. I'm just being calm. You just, you're really, and I'm just trying to be calm.
Yeah,
because that's what I was trying to say. That's all.
If you're gonna come left, you're gonna get left. Simple.
Sorry.
So my point to Derek is that, in as much as I do not subscribe to the criminalization of homosexuals, I just feel, in fact, as a matter of fact, I'm an advocate for signing gay rights into law, because at the end of the day, there's so many closeted homosexuals in Nigeria that that you would be surprised to know who is who by the time it becomes legal. So, but at the same time, in as much as I want it to be legal for Nigerians to have this freedom of expression and freedom of sexual preferences, I just feel it should end there. It should just end there. After that's all. There is no need to go berserk. There's no need to adopt the American style of, going to schools and
what's your definition of berserk, Psychotherapy?
Okay, don't they teach you? Let me ask the question. Don't they teach you in school that,
something like AYR, extreme?
Okay, let me ask you a question. The same way they teach you in social studies, when you were in primary school, they taught you in social studies that a family is made up of a father, a mother, and children, a nuclear family. Can they teach children that a family can also be a father, and children, or a mother, and children?
Bro, there is no need for that. If
they can give you heterosexual privileges, why can't they give us the same privilege? So you're ostracizing our
wait,
group.
hold on. You know how you just said, Psychotherapy, that you're advocating for gay rights, for people who are gay not to be criminalized. I would actually strip you from the board of advocacy, because you're not advocating for people to be to have rights.
Because
you saying that there's no need for that means that actually these people who are gay and homosexual or trans should actually stay in their homes and not be in public. That's what you're basically saying. You're saying that they should stay in one section and you should stay in your own section, which is which is outside, which is the modern world. You're not advocating for shit, Psychotherapy.
See, do you know something? Once the gay rights, is accepted, right? We would have, people being able to, do what's it called, PDA, which is public display of affection. You understand? That is, if you are homosexual, which at that point, it's not be like, it's not be like you'll be having, stares in the public, or you'll be having, someone looking at you in a very forceful manner. You understand? So that's what the rights is for. You would have individuals that are homosexual being able to marry themselves in a legal court. That is what I'm trying to say. That is my own advocacy. Let's stop being hypocrite.
It's also good to elucidate children. It's also good.
You understand?
I understand what you're trying to say, but it's also good to elucidate children that homosexuality exists. And if you feel that way, your feelings are valid. So if you don't elucidate them that homosexuality is okay, that it's okay that you can have a family made up of man, and children, father and children, mother and children, even when they are growing up and they are getting into their teenage age and they're passing through puberty and they find themselves attracted to the same sex gender, they won't feel outcasted. They will feel, oh, it's normal, it's genuine. My feelings are genuine. My attraction is genuine, and I don't feel like an outcast. So that is why you need to elucidate everyone. So the
but
same
don't you feel
privileges you have as a heterosexual should be given and accorded to a homosexual or a bisexual or a transgender.
Don't you feel also being unfair to your heterosexuals? Because for example, if I'm straight.
Sorry, Secretary, can you repeat that?
Like, don't you feel you're also unfair to heterosexuals?
I'm not unfair.
Do not have a problem.
I said they will still teach that. They teach that a family is made up of a father, a mother, and the family could also be made up of a father, and should also be made up of a mother. So it is like including all sexualities.
But Derek,
so
that question is quite silly, because actually heterosexual people are not the ones who are ostracized. They are not the ones who are facing a discrimination daily, because that's what society deems as normal.
Okay, let's use race for example. Like in America, when they say Black Lives Matter, it's not because the blacks have been ostracized.
No, but Derek, why are you not including the single fathers and the single mothers? Because there's some households made up of just...
Yeah, exactly. There are single mothers and single fathers too. Yes, I agree with you, Vessel.
You know what's funny as well, right? We're talking about
homosexual, aren't we?
No, hold on. At this point, the conversation has now veered towards families, right? And what the neutral family looks like. What's really interesting is everyone's family dynamic is different. That's saying it's a village. Sometimes that village consists of actually a woman being helped by other women. And it doesn't necessarily mean a man is present. And it could be a man being helped by other men. They may not be involved romantically, but actually they are helping one another, because that's what you do. That's what children should be given. They should be given that love. They should be given that sense of community, that sense of actually support. There's people around me that will be there for me and raise me and uplift me. It has nothing to do with who anyone decides to sleep with or be with romantically. I think everybody here is like, not everybody here, but everybody who is against what people decide to do in their homes is missing the point. Because actually, like I've said a few times, there are heteronormative families that exist that don't love or nurture those children behind closed doors. Actually, there are people who are relinquishing their rights as parents and giving their children up and putting them in orphanages. What would you say about any of them? And then you have two men who are perfectly kind-hearted and honest and caring and hard-working individuals, or two women who are the same, who would like to actually have children, and they should be denied the right to look after those children. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Can I say something?
Let me ask you one question. Do you believe
Can
that
I talk now?
Do you believe that you can control what an individual feels, or what an individual have as preferences from a very young age? Do you believe you can do that?
Wait, your question, you need to rephrase it. I don't really understand.
Okay, do you believe that you can control the preferences, the life choices, the attitudes of a child before the child reaches the adulthood stage? Do you believe?
No, I don't. I don't believe that.
I don't think it's anyone's job to control that.
Okay, hold on. Let me give you a source. Can you go and read about Judith Polgar? Read about Magnus Carlsen. These are chess players. These are players that were introduced to chess at a very early age in their lives, and they went on to become world champions and world best players. And these individuals were what's it called? Let's forget about that. But you can actually go and read about that. And you should also read about a man called.
What does chess have to do with
Hold on,
The idea is that you can control the life choices, the the behavior,
Yo, shut
the
up, man.
attitudes of
You're
our
still saying
like
choice.
you
It's like you don't forget that. You don't forget that
Go.
sexual orientation is not a choice.
Function
You're
now,
still
it's
thinking sexual orientation is a choice.
But the thing
You're
is,
still thinking that
the
sexual
word there,
orientation is a
Derek,
choice.
the
Stop
word
saying
there,
it's not a
Derek.
Now,
choice.
here's the thing.
Wait, Derek,
Here's
the
the
word
thing.
there that psychoteric use that is problematic actually is control.
Exactly.
Because actually, you know, for me, it's why should anybody control what a child's normal inclination is and what they feel is natural to them? I am
Exactly.
not here to control what my child likes. That is the problem. A lot of and now let's take it left, right? Because Psychoteric tried to take it left. So let's take it left for a second, right? You started speaking about chess. I don't know what the hell chess champions has to do with the choices people make about who they decide to love. But wait, I'm not finished. Let me finish. Because actually, if we're thinking about this control complex that a lot of Nigerians have, and we're speaking about Nigerians specifically here, right? Because I'm speaking to two Nigerians at the moment, Derek and Psychoteric, right? But because I can't really speak on other African nations. But what I've seen about Nigerians specifically is that they are very controlling about what their children do, what their children like, okay? Because they want to actually live vicariously through their children. Rather than actually allowing their children to have their own lives, they control what it is their children are able to do, learn, study, who they marry, everything. And this is how you end up having very unhappy and people who are shells of themselves, people who are unhappy, people who have feel like they have no purpose, people who are just existing and not living.
That is not true.
Yardi, I wasn't actually speaking to you, and it is very true because I'm actually somebody who can speak from experience. Because actually, if it wasn't for the fact that I had parents who were more liberal, who allowed me to explore my love for the arts, for performance, for music, I would have been a lawyer, a doctor, or a nurse. Or in engineering, gas and oil. That's what it would have been. Oil and gas, sorry. That's what it would have been. Because actually, those are the only things that are ranked as a real job or a real profession in Nigeria most of the time. So if we're talking about control, that is where Nigerians have it messed up. Because actually, you're not there as a parent to control where your child wants to go. You're there to advise. You're there to manage. You're there to maybe even guide. Be a form of guidance for your child. Be a form of nurturing for your child. If your child wants to be a tennis player, yeah. If your child is showing interest in something other than the top 5 professions that Nigerians always go for, then try to nurture that in your child. If your child wants to be in sports, if your child wants to be in beauty, this isn't about creating an image of yourself. This is a whole new person with their own life and with their own interests. So that word control is where it's problematic for me.
Can I ask you a question?
Okay,
Jay?
maybe I shouldn't use the word control, but the reason why I chose the illustration of chess players was just so you know that what's it called? Individuals actually have the ability to guide children to the adulthood stage to develop into world champions and world beaters. But irrespective, the idea is not to totally control and say, oh, this is how your life would be, or this is how you should these are the kind of patterns I would like you to have in your throughout your life. But the idea is to guide against what's it called, unforeseen circumstances and issues. And at the end of the day, you see an African man does not just think about himself or his feelings. One of the hallmarks of an African man Yeah, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yes. Listen, if because you're really like going in circles, if what you're asking is if it can be suppressed, the answer is yes. But why are you so bothered about a child's sexuality that you want to suppress it? That's where the question lies.
Yeah, so that's where
It's not
that's where I'm
about-
going to. That's where I'm going
Yes,
to.
it can
Like
be
that was using
suppressed.
the
There's no
analogy
need
of
for all this
The African man.
I already know what you're talking about. To suppress a
I'm
child
not
from their
considering you know what I'm
sexuality.
talking about.
You're talking about suppression. That's what you're talking about. It's not.
That was the initial issue. That was the initial topic, and I think we are done
But
with
it's
that.
not
But
right.
what I was going to is, you know, like the fact that the hallmark of an African is to what's it called? Protect his community. His community is key to his existence. If you read, no, just hold on. Let me explain. I'm not finished. I'm not landed. I'm not landed.
Going really far.
Can I say something?
Just cut it short.
Please, can I say something? Thank you. I've got a new subscriber. I appreciate. Thank you for subscribing. Let's see, who was it? I got a new subscriber. Sorry, I was away from the phone. Please, there are people watching on YouTube that want to get in and they want to hear the conversation. And they have asked, please, no talking over each other so they can hear. Hey, Miss Misani. Miss Misani said it is hard to follow the conversation if everyone is talking, if everyone is over talking. So please, let's be cognizant of the fact that there are people listening as well.
Like you're saying the same thing. Like I'm
basically
hearing the same thing for the past few minutes.
See, like I said, I've mentioned, I've stated my point, and you know that's where you are missing it. I stated my point, and our argument is different from what you're actually talking about right now. My point, let me just reiterate my point. My point is that, in as much as I advocate for the legality of homosexuality in Nigeria, I feel it should just stop at that, because the right alone has even given them a massive opportunity to be free, to not be criminalized, and to not get some form of jungle justice, which is against universal human rights. But at the same time, you know, I feel it is uncalled for there to be, you know, extra stuff like, you know, orientation in the classroom.
Extra
you know,
stuff.
I feel
We've had this conversation.
Going back. No, I'm repeating my point to the lady that was talking about suppression.
Psychoteric. Extra stuff like what?
I said that I'm repeating my point to the lady that was talking about suppression.
Okay,
and I said the extra stuff I talked about was them not what's it called? Talking about it in the classroom like Derek advocated.
I feel okay, so they should talk about heterosexuality in the classroom, but they shouldn't talk about homosexuality in the classroom.
No, hold on. I'm asking him a question. So what do they talk about in the classrooms?
So here's the thing. If at the end of the day,
listen. What have you heard them talking about in the classrooms?
They talk about what's it called? The fact that is a possibility for individuals to be homosexual at a very early age, like probably at the age of 2, 3, the way it is done in the US. And I feel it is not.
That's not what they talk about.
What they talk about?
See,
you know,
hold on, psychoteric. You don't know what they're talking about. Yet, that is your point. The first point is what they are teaching in the schools. Yet you don't know what they're teaching.
I know what they teach. I have a textbook.
What is it?
That I have a textbook of what's it called? I think a grade 3 class. It's I think it's on English or something like that. but it's somewhere. Sometimes I came across recently.
Turn on your mic and show us the cover.
Something I came across recently. Do I need to go and be reading through the book?
Okay,
No,
I'm not really concerned.
you don't know about it, but you're talking about it.
Yes, now because they're talking about the fact that humans could be homosexual.
What was written on the front page?
What was written inside the book?
Okay. For instance, in a religious textbook, they're talking about the fact that you could actually have what's it called, Adam and Steve instead of Adam and Eve.
Hey God, what book?
I mean,
What book is that?
True.
Their books, sincerely, their books. But I did not take my time to go through the book. I'm not interested.
What book is it?
I'm not interested. Okay, do you need me to like come back tomorrow and show you the book? Like I'll send you a
Yeah,
PDF
come back and show us.
of the book.
Come back and
No
show us
problem.
because that's not what they
That's
teach
not a
in
problem.
schools.
Okay,
Because
That's
what
not
you
a
think,
problem.
what you're saying is not what they teach in schools.
Hold on.
Don't argue with me. Let me bring my proof tomorrow.
I'm not arguing. I know what I'm saying.
Okay, can we
So
just
I'm
hold
like
on now? Can we
invalidating
just-
what you're saying.
Please, Derek, just hold on. Psychoteric. Okay. So
Yeah.
if there is a couple called Adam and Steve, right? There's a couple
Yeah.
called Adam and Steve, and they're teaching the children that you can find couples and couples like Adam and Steve. What is wrong with that?
So here's my point. My point is, me being an heterosexual, probably I'm an heterosexual parent. I wouldn't like
please
it.
answer the question. Please answer the question.
Exactly. I'm trying to explain myself. Maybe I wouldn't like my child to listen to such kind of thing. That is just it.
Why not?
I wouldn't want my child to listen to that kind
Why
of thing.
not? What is the rationale?
Because I'm insecure about my child becoming homosexual. That is the truth.
So don't project your insecurity. Don't project your insecurities over other people.
Everybody talking at the same time. Come on, psychoteric. You are insecure about your child becoming homosexual. Why are you insecure?
Why am I insecure? Because I'm insecure because I'm thinking about the future of of my community. I feel, hear me out. I feel if at the end of the day we have higher prevalence of homosexual individuals in society, we are at the risk of extinction, which I wouldn't like. Yeah, which is true. You can laugh how you like, on the comment section.
Wait, hold on, lie. What has this got to do with your child?
My goodness.
Because a little drop forms the ocean. Little drop of water forms the ocean. How you don't know?
Psychoteric, that is wrong. Because if your child
Destruction of a nation.
Gay, being exposed to that doesn't make them gay.
Exactly, Yadi.
If they are straight, nothing will affect them. Whatever they see, whatever they hear, it will not affect them. Because guess what? When I was growing
up,
everybody cannot be gay.
You wait for me to finish speaking, please.
No. People now, we need to be respectful now. Please let people finish speaking.
Yeah, so when I was growing up, what was shoved in my face is heterosexuality, right? You had the whole pin-up type of culture, because that was what it was in the 80s. You had the page 3 girls and all of that. That is what was shoved in my face, right? And I was a kid. Okay, so what makes you think that I managed to grow up liking men and not girls? This is what was shoved in my face. You open the newspaper, page 3. There she is, naked. In the newspaper, family newspaper, every Sunday. You guys know what I'm talking about.
Exactly.
So why is it that I didn't grow up? Why is it that I didn't become a lesbian when I grew up? What you're saying doesn't make sense.
So would you be happy that there is no there are no humans in the next 50 years?
Why would there be no human psychoteric? Because not everybody is gay. The same way,
exactly.
Not everybody is black.
Okay, but do you believe that? Do you believe that we could have more? Do you believe we could have more
homosexuals? There are gay people. There are straight people. Okay, Nobody can convert a straight person to be gay. It can't happen.
Homosexuals are
okay, if it can happen, psychoteric, they're going to start with you. If somebody can be converted to become gay,
exactly.
Homosexuals are people who are homosexual. They're having babies every day.
That's why I'm saying he keeps going back. I already told him this. Like, it's very
we can have babies. I want to have
have
children.
babies.
I want to have children. I know gay people that have children. I know gay people that have children. Yes. In this Nigeria, we have gay men that are secretly married to women. They are gay. They're not even bisexuals. And they have children. What are you saying? So who says we can't procreate if you're gay? Who says we can't procreate if you're bisexual?
Even in South Africa, men do actually are gay, and then they still have they have women on the side, but no one knows.
They have women on the side.
Yeah,
they marry for society.
House. They call it a small house. It's very common, and a small house. They would call it a small house anyway. I think that's just the term they use. And they can have multiple women, a couple of girlfriends here and there, and no one will know about it. It's an agreement they have, and then these are like the guys who got money, and then they'll pay. Pay those girls, so those girls, they just keep quiet. It's like, the norm. And
I agree. Sandy, it happens in Nigeria too. It happens in Nigeria too. Like even, and do you know that even in this our community, in the LGBT community, like gay man can marry a lesbian lady just for the purpose of procreation.
Right. Lavender. That's what
they like live their lives. They live their life. They have their own lovers and everything, but they just know they're just married for the purpose of procreation. So what are you saying? People you can procreate if you're gay. Being gay doesn't stop you from procreating.
They're keeping their legacy. Basically, they're trying to keep that legacy going by doing so. They have
exactly.
I know a lady who has never been married. She's lesbian, and she's got a child. And her child. She went to the fertility clinic, and it was through artificial insemination. Right, so she had to really sleep with the man and all of this stuff.
I want to leave. I'm working overnight.
So before you go, I want to ask you some questions, please.
I'm sorry, I work tonight.
Just hold on, just 5 more minutes, please. CJ.
No, okay.
Make it brief for
5 minutes.
Okay.
Guys, we're so close to 20K likes now. Let's do this, please.
I think I understand what Psycho is saying about he's thinking about the men and the women. I understand where you're coming from.
Sandy, just because he says he's about to go, let them have this conversation, please.
Oh, so yeah,
CJ, go after 4 minutes.
Okay, yeah, I want to ask, how did you come up with the math?
Everybody on the panel, please now, you guys be tapping as well. People in the comments, please be tapping. Everybody, just tap on your screen. You're watching on YouTube. Oh, my mic is muffled. Oh, sorry. If you're watching on
can
YouTube,
hear you.
Please give the stream a thumbs up. Okay. All right, go on.
So I want to ask, how did you come up with 50 years? How did you think that 8 billion people can just turn completely gay, not just even gay, but want to all be child-free in 50 years?
No, I only asked a question. It was not like I came up with anything. There was no fact to anything.
Yeah, but you said the number 50 years. That means you already. I
said, how would you feel? I said, how would you feel in the next 50 years if the world becomes extreme? How would you feel?
So that has nothing to do with LGBT people. That's just completely just a random question.
Exactly.
Okay. And also, there's a point you also made. You talked about you can control people. I want if you can explain, how can someone be controlled, but at the same time is a choice? So because those two things contradict one another.
I have 2 minutes. I have 2 minutes. So I just want to I will give you a summary and also ask you to read a book. So basically, you can control humans, and even
that's I'm not asking that. I'm like, how do you believe that someone can be controlled, but at the same time, it is also a choice? So if someone's sexuality can be controlled, how is it also a choice? Because both things are contradictory. It can't be a choice and a control all at the same time.
It's a choice, basically. I believe it's a choice. We already argued about that it's a choice. And you can
It's
see
not a
control.
choice.
It's not like
It's not a choice.
Derek, it's a choice. You
I mean,
already
It's
said
not
it's
a
a choice.
choice.
I'm not arguing whether you believe it's a
You
choice.
Not
already
a
I'm
said it's a
saying,
choice.
how can
already
you
agreed
believe
It's not a
something is a
choice.
choice? Sorry, I
We
said, how
already
can you
agreed it's a
believe
choice.
that
It's not
something
a
is a
choice.
choice and at the same time, oh yeah, absolutely, I agree with you, it's not a choice. But I just want to,
CJ, stay. 1 second, 1 second. Psychoteric, if it is a
Yeah.
choice, can you choose to be gay right now?
No, I can't choose to be gay.
Oh no, it's a choice.
Why?
Please choose
I
to
can't
be
choose
gay.
to be gay. I chose to be because I can't choose to be gay because it's an alternative,
Listen.
which is
You can
heterosexual.
hold on. You can choose to be gay just for the purpose of this
Okay.
life, and then when you're done tomorrow, you can then go back to being straight. How about that?
No.
No, but it is a choice now.
It's a choice for me. I can choose to be gay, and I
No,
can
you
choose
can't
to
say
be
it's just a choice.
homosexual.
You're not the only
And we're
individual.
asking for
But
you.
I don't want to choose
We are
now.
asking. We are asking
Choose.
that you should choose.
Prove it.
I can't choose now.
No.
Why
prove
not?
it to us.
Why not?
I can't.
Why can't you choose? Why can't you choose?
You know what? It's just that it's
Why can't you
against.
choose? Why can't
You know
you
what?
choose?
You know
Why
what?
can't you choose
I can't choose because I don't want to. It's against my preference. But I'm saying that.
Is your preference a choice?
It's against your
Is your preference a choice?
It's a choice.
Your preference is a choice.
Yes.
But you can't unchoose it.
Yeah, you can. Can you please
Listen up,
choose
listen
right
up.
now? Can you
Listen
choose
up.
to?
Let me
please
ask you
choose
one
to be-
question.
No, please choose to be gay. I'm not moving.
You can't.
past it.
It's against my preference. I can't choose it.
Okay,
So
but
you can't
secretary,
choose
So
to
the
be
same way we
yourself,
can't choose to be straight because it's against our preference.
no, but secretary, don't you see the contradiction there?
Same
You
and
can't
same
say-
thing.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can see the
I'm out.
contradiction.
I'll be back
These
tomorrow.
people-
I hope this conversation continues tomorrow.
This is crazy. You can see it when it is you. You don't see it. Someone else, you see.
Exactly.
It's a
So
choice.
close-minded.
It's a choice. Very
Myopic.
close-minded.
I think it's putting yourself in someone else's shoes and understanding them.
With that book
Hey,
that
guys,
you claim that is in schools.
Hey, CJ.
Hey, I have to go. But nice talking to you.
Nebula, thanks for coming up and having a conversation with
All right, no problem.
that gentleman. Because Nebulous, I've heard that men from your part of the world can be very, very homophobic.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It's pretty bad, yeah. Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Wow.
I mean, to be honest with you, it is something that I've learned. I have learned to differentiate, because I grew up in that setting. I was like that guy, and I realized that it's just people. Not all people going to be the same, in terms of their sexuality. So I've learned to look past that and see them as human beings. They're just human beings. They want to live their lives the best way they can. And also, if you believe in a freedom and believe in to be free, you can't just deprive others of freedom just because you want to feel, to feel secure in yourself. So that's what I think. So I think that most of those guys who are vehemently anti-gay or whatever they call it, I think they're insecure in themselves. To be honest with you. That's all I want to say.
Okay.
Can I just add to this? Can I add to this?
Sorry, I'll
Good
see you
evening,
guys.
everyone.
Okay. All right, Nebulous. Thank you. Bye, Nebulous.
Good evening, everyone.
Hey, Ada.
Hi. I just wanted to contribute to this a bit. So as you know, I grew up from a very strict household. My father was a pastor. I believe that the only way to please God was to be heterosexual. It was indoctrinated in me, from Beauty and the Beast to Cinderella to everything, Sleeping Beauty, everything. It was a man who came to rescue a woman. And for 39 years, I tried every possible way to fit in that box. Tried everything possible, the panic attacks, everything, all the types of relationships, heterosexual relationships. Did my best as a Christian woman. It did not fit. And then I had to ask myself a question. What if I met someone that loved me the way I wanted to be loved? Will their gender matter? And believe me, I went on panic attacks for weeks trying to answer that question. It shook me to my core. Shook me to my core. And that's when I started to understand that if I was taught in school that other types of people existed, then I would have had options to start to understand myself, to find myself. But it took me 39 years because no school would teach that. I didn't even see that in the society I grew up with. In fact, the first time I saw someone called Dendaudu, for anyone who lived in the north, in northern Nigeria, was when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And I ran back home to my dad. I was like, Daddy, I don't know what I saw, but it was weird. It was a man who was dressed like a woman, but you knew he was a man.
Like a woman.
And he was like, yeah, that's normal. That was normal. Like he said back in the 50s when he was in Kano, that was normal. It's part of the society. That's to tell you that in African society, even the core north, it's accepted. It just hushed. It just hushed. And yet, the indoctrination that we've received from our colonial masters, whether it's, as I said, look at any Black person in the world, I can guarantee you they belong to one of two religions. It's either they're Christians, some version of Christianity, or some version of Islam. Only 3% still worship, gods of our forefathers. So in that case, we have all been indoctrinated to believe that it's supposed to be man and woman so that they give birth to children and they keep what? Having children for what? Capitalism. So that you do 9-to-5 jobs, you do blue collar jobs, or do white collar jobs. You fill in the positions and they pay you peanuts. And the fact that he says it's a choice. Did he choose to be Black? Did he have an agreement with God that, oh, I don't want the race that is like kind of this, is discriminated in the world. I want to choose a different. Did he have that conversation before he came to the world? People don't choose stuff. People are. But the society that we're in shapes you to believe in one thing. And it's so sad that he also still wants his kids to be shaped in that slavery system of capitalism and indoctrination. I bet he believes in submission. That would have been the next thing. He wants a woman to submit to him so that they can have children. He can have access to her womb, and then those children bear his name. Things have passed, things have gone way past that. And whether they like it or not, this is the future. You accept it or not. Finally, just my last submission. Humans are fluid. Why do we have to like what everybody likes? Why? Why do I choose to be a doctor and someone chooses to be a lawyer? Why can't everybody be doctors? Why can't everybody be engineers? Why can't everybody? But that's the thing. We all came to this world differently. Why did someone write something in a book and say, nah, you have to do it my way, or you will not have peace? Ask yourself, if you ever found someone who loved you the way you wanted to be loved, treated you the way you wanted to be treated you the way you deserve to be loved, and all you think about is the gender, you will live a very lonely life, miserable for that matter. That's all.
Right. Bitter Witch, do you want to say something?
Hi everyone.
Hello.
Hi Ada.
Hello.
Hi Afro.
Hi.
Hi Ada. Hi Vessel. Hi everybody that I don't know anyways. I've talked about this topic before on another live, on Jen's live, and I just wanted to say that the reason why they're so triggered about this topic is because, especially for the heterosexual men, it's because they somehow do not want women to get some sort of freedom, because you people support each other. So why are you afraid about being gay, right? You support each other. You love each other. Why not just engage yourself romantically? This is what you want. And anytime you see men who do that, you are always angry. You're projecting because that's what you want to do. But because you live in a society that has programmed you and forced you to think that you're actually straight without bends, you are always screaming, why are these men doing these things? And I feel that, like Ada said, it was all programming, right? The indoctrination. You think that you're meant to just be with the opposite gender. I think when you meet someone who actually truly cares about you, it does not have to be the opposite. And for me, growing up, right, I've always liked women. Women are beautiful. They're so beautiful. And I always see women. I am no way interested in what a man looks like. I don't like those creatures. I'm sorry. They just look strange. The way they say aliens are strange, that's how men look to me sometimes. But then they are humans and they exist in this world with us, coupled with the fact that they've created crazy systems. So Africans have always had homosexual people, but because of the programming, we're here today, right? And a lot of people try to do it under or beneath. I was in the comments when I was hearing about men who marry women and are gay, and I've seen those kind of people who are actually homo, but because of the society, they pay those women, they marry, and then they do their thing on the ground. So I don't think there's anything wrong with being homo. If you do not like the opposite gender, fine, go for it. I have always wondered when I see movies back then about how they always criticized people like this. It was crazy. And I'm like, what is wrong? How dare you control how people feel? Like, what gives you the right to think that you can program this person to a point where they begin to think for themselves? Same thing with religion. At a point, they knew that people begin to use their senses to think, right? So they had to do something from scratch. But they knew that they will get to a point. That's why they have to till now manipulate the thing to look. They just have to fix it anyhow so that people will not get the gist. Right. So I just feel you don't have any right to say what people should feel or say how they should live. You can't choose to be that. If you are straight, you are straight. If you're straight with a curve, fine. If you're completely curved, it's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, honestly. So that's my 2 cents. Thank you. And shout out to all the LGBTQ in the house and in the comments. I see ya and I love Oya.
Thank you for that. Also, I just want to say, like, there's this idea that they try to make themselves a victim because people are claiming they want LGBT rights in Africa.
Thank you,
Like,
Susan.
there was like people come and lament, like, oh, the West has stopped giving us aid because we don't want to give them LGBT rights. But they don't actually talk about the full story, like, especially when there was the whole Honor Life, the gay bill. And, obviously, America said they wouldn't give Uganda aid. They turned around to make themselves look like the victim. It's like, well, you can't expect a country that has gay rights to be giving you money to honor life people who have rights in their country. It doesn't make sense. And then they'll try to compare themselves to, like, Saudi Arabia and, like, certain Middle Eastern countries where, they can honor life gay people. And they say, oh, why don't the West do anything? They're like, well, those countries are not seeking aid from Western governments. So that's why they can do what they want to do with their money. But they try to make it seem like when they want to impose harsh laws on queer people and the people giving them money say, hey, we don't want to do this, they try to pretend that they're the victims and it's being pushed on them. And then they will claim it's all an agenda to destroy Africa. Like, I remember even psychotherapy was arguing in the comments earlier, what is the end game? And he doesn't explain what the end game is, but he's trying to essentially imply, LGBT people at the end game of Africans. If you allow them to just have their rights and maneuver around, everything in Africa will automatically end, which I think is is insane because it's like Africa is too diverse and it's in all this richness. There's no way a bunch of people are going to just start, we just want to turn LGBT because LGBT people exist. Because it's the one place we can understand how diverse people are in cultural identity and all forms of identities. But at the end of the day, it's like they all want to have this whole, that they are being victimized if LGBT Africans have the same legal rights as them. And it just doesn't make any sense.
You know why that is? That's because humans are naturally fluid, and the minority has been made the majority, and they're afraid that that will happen. That's why.
Exactly.
Because it's not like we're going to become the majority. I don't even think that's something that ever happened in the future, in history. But they already believe like we're just going to come take them over. Like all the straight people will just automatically just die off.
And who is them taking over? Humans with even a better heart. Humans with a better heart. Humans who do not discriminate. It's funny how we are Black people and we understand discrimination. And then at the same time we say, okay, yeah, we don't want the discrimination of race, but we want the discrimination of others. You can't have two at the same time. Discrimination is discrimination everywhere. Simple, period. That's it.
And they like to make it seem like squirrel eats meat. Sorry, Karen.
Hello.
Hi, Mr.
Thanks for having me, everyone. Well, I was saying I have a testimony in the comments, and it was kind of loud. But the so-called testimony is
Which testimony? Testimony time, blessing time.
Well, it's the fact that I have an uncle, right? I think, well, maybe this is why I haven't, although I kind of adopted some kind of homophobic views later on. I've never really had a problem. I've never really had a problem with anyone being a man being feminine or a woman seeming to be more masculine than we expect a woman to be feminine, But I have this uncle who was a musician, and he's on the cover of his album back in the 90s, just to show you how let's say outstanding he was. He had braids to his shoulders, and he had piercings, and he dressed, I mean, just his wokettes. I mean, I really admire this guy. Really, he's stepping. He was different, and he had two wives. Okay, he had two wives, and he had about 7 children, but he was allegedly gay. And I say allegedly because, well, as we know, well, it almost seems to me like well, it seems to me like in the first place, sexuality, right? It's not so much a public thing in African culture, right? Why we see parents having 12 children, but we've never seen them kiss or hold hands and stuff like that. But that doesn't exclude, well, the fact that we know that we've always had people that stand out, that we can't necessarily explain, and that we don't necessarily look down on. Of course, I mean, in some cases we do mock them, unfortunately. But I'm just thinking back at my uncle, and who later on came now to have a son, who is, I keep trying to explain this to people, but I say he's a girl. He's a woman, right? And unfortunately for him, I would say at the moment he's in Cameroon, which is in Africa. So he can't. Well, let's say if he considers,
he cannot express his authentic
he
self.
cannot express himself, as who he is. But the thing is, even if he cannot hide it, that's the thing. It's impossible to hide it. So it's just who he is. I mean,
it's a terrible place to be.
Yeah, it's
a terrible place. It's the devil and the deep blue sea.
It's just sad to imagine that he lives in such an environment right now. to imagine the kind of mental health that, I mean, he had some kind of weird mental health because of the reactions that he would get in school and stuff like that. But at home, I mean, it's one of our favorites. I mean, the thing is, my own experience actually with
Can he
this
come to
whole
Canada?
LGBT. Come to
Can he come
Canada.
to Canada? Yes, he's Cameroonian. He probably has French, maybe. Canada is always welcoming to people like us. Please tell him,
If only you
please.
know. If only you knew. Well, it's a very long shot. It's too long a shot, honestly. Yeah. But at least he's
Where
he's
there's a will, there's a
relatively
way.
safe. Yeah.
Where there's a will, there's a way. I will contact you though. I'll contact you privately.
Yeah. Okay. But you see, after for this second question, why does God have Yahweh and all of that? Hate the LGBT? I don't know. I literally I've had this question on my platform for a while. Like, why does it seem to me like God is a corn, when he changed the C for P? It looks like God is a corn curator. He just watches people around the world and say, no, I don't like this one. No, don't do that.
No, but Mr. Zil, he created us, remember?
Like even in Sodom and Gomorrah, it wasn't enough for him to, I don't know, omnipresence. He didn't know enough. He had to come and watch and then decide that, no, it's disgusting. I don't like it.
If he created us this way, then what was he expecting? What was he thinking was going to happen? You create people with these tendencies and then turn around and get vexed. I've never understood that God.
I swear.
The first homosexual relationship in the Bible was between this God and Adam. Right? The two of them went off and had a baby called Eve. Now, tell me, how is it okay that in the Bible the God can decide to have a baby with Adam or have another human being with Adam, but in real life it's not proper?
Or better yet, when he needed to bring Jesus into the world, he decided to go to a woman, where he did it before with a man.
Exactly. Why? I don't get it. I just need someone to explain that to me.
Because the New Testament was rewritten so that we are indoctrinated. Simple.
And these are serious questions we need to be asking.
I see God as a God that loves contradiction, because why even have the fruit of good and evil in the first place? In the first place.
But it's obvious to
in
me
the
that
first place, and then punish us for doing. It's like, remember that thing that we used to have as I think it went viral last year or 2 years ago, where a kid is given candy, like parents give a child candy and say, don't touch till I come back, right?
Yeah.
And then it's almost like punishing a child for going for what they actually naturally will go for, candy.
But
Will you blame a 3-year-old for taking?
Ada.
But that's what I'm trying to say. It's like he was using us for experiment to say, okay, I have these two things, don't touch. And if you touch, I'll punish you. And oh man, he does love to put us in great contradictions and watch us fail and then punish us for it.
I don't know. I wish we had a theologian here. I had an internal critic for them, since they always say bring an internal, external. I mean, someone forced me to have an internal critic, and I went to Genesis chapter 1. God created the earth. Okay, the first mistake is, if you tell me God is perfect, why did he create anything? If God, do you understand that perfection means completion? God is complete. Why does he have to make anything?
Create anything.
A better contradiction is, why was Eve an afterthought?
Then he goes to create
and then
humans.
He's perfect.
Then he goes to create humans and says, have dominion, right? Meaning, do whatever you like, no constraints. And then
subdue.
As if that was not enough, he repeats, eat from the fish of the sea, the trees, and then again, eat from the fish of the tree, eat from the, and then chapter 2, all of a sudden, you may not eat from the tree in the middle of the
Fruits
garden.
of God.
What happened?
Better yet, remember that in Genesis 20, 25 to 26, it said, let us make man in our own image. In our own image, he created them. The word was them. And it says male and female, he created them. That was day 6. And then day 7, he looked at everything and everything was good. It was perfect. It was completed. Then who the fuck is Eve as an afterthought? Like a lion had male and female, a goat had male and female. And then the first woman that we're told, even though we're told male and female were created, but Eve now was an afterthought because God said he saw that man was lonely. It is not good for man to be alone. Let me create for him a helpmate. So women, or as Christianity tells us, our wife's name is Eve. Are we saying that she's an afterthought? After creation had been created, then he saw a need. So God is a mother of
she's an accessory,
invention.
He created the animals.
She's
And
an
he gave the
accessory.
animals to Adam. Adam sampled all the animals. That's when God realized that there isn't a suitable one for Adam. Instead of creating, he put Adam to sleep and took his rib. So
God needed a punani for Adam.
And then one thing that gets me here is how is it that, because they would say Christians will go and, when they proselytize to people, oh, you're imperfect, this is why you need Jesus' love, this is why you need God in your life. And they never fail to ask, how can imperfection come from perfection? If you believe like it's a perfect being, how can an imperfect being come from that?
And by the way, I didn't tell you guys the special fact about my allegedly gay uncle, well, polygamous but gay uncle story.
Yes. One day and Bitter Witch, stop flirting in the comments.
In this my comment section.
Yes.
Wrestle, please mute both of them. Permanently mute both of them.
Don't be jealous now, Afro.
Permanently mute both of them, please.
Hey, permanently.
Permanently.
I'm watching the flirting.
No. Listen, you know that I'm just joking, please. The reason why I used to do lives like this before, but this after a while stopped because there's always something will be said, and then my account will get taken down. So thankfully, today we stayed up having this conversation. It's about, affirming people that are LGBTQ and saying, look, you have got us here. We don't judge at all, right? You are valid, you are unique, you are valued, and you deserve your space here on earth. And, creating communities for people to feel safe in. These bigots that come around, if my child should come and tell me that they're gay, I would kick them out of the house. I would do this. So when you kick them out of the house because they're gay, where do you expect them to go? Where do you expect that child to go? Right? And so your child will come to us because we will accept your child. We will embrace that child, right? Because it's just crazy how we focus on people's private parts and what they do with it. It's crazy. So yes, this is just to validate people who are LGBTQ or whatever alphabet. Whatever it is. GS Lake, can you please shut up and go away. Stop like God don't like no gay thing. Look, your God is gay. Your God is gay.
How did he create Eve
Your
with
God.
Adam?
No, I tell you how I know that your God is gay.
Create a woman.
Your God, 144,000 virgin boys. He is going to redeem them from the earth. Go and read your books. It's in Revelation chapter 14. Go and read.
What do you think he'll be doing with all those virgin boys? And why is he so obsessed with foreskins?
And 44,000 virgin boys. Huh? What does your God want to do with those ones?
You know the strange thing about this God is that there have been trinities for way longer than the Abrahamic religions, right? But they decided to do something special. They took out the feminine in it. They said Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Every other Trinity I've come across in all my studies before I became an atheist is a feminine, a masculine, and then an offspring, you know. But these people, they made a triangle of man, man, man.
Christianity is very gay. It's extremely
Very
gay,
gay.
but they are in denial.
Like another weird thing is like even when you look at some of the early Christian actually not the early Christians, but when the Catholic Church began, they all decided it's just going to be men that can speak to God, or just men, you know, being in the same enclosed with other men, no women whatsoever. But then they turn around and be the most anti-gay people ever. Even though we know the Catholic Church has had a lot of gay priests throughout their history.
And of course, a lot of the atrocities. Canada has so many documented atrocities of the Catholic Church.
Really?
Afro,
Yeah,
Afro in
absolutely.
Nigeria, there are a lot of priests that are gay.
Yes.
A lot. Like they hook up with many gay guys. They like a lot. It's like very dominant in the Catholic Church.
Not just the Catholic.
When I was in university, my colleague was dating a priest.
But church as a whole.
Yeah, church as a whole.
As a whole.
Listen,
When I was in university,
to go with a video recorder, record this thing, send it to me. I will leak it from where I am, and I will never disclose who you are. I will leak it. I will make it go viral because where I am, it's not a problem. I don't fear anyone. Go to these places, video record, get all this gist, bring it to me. Your secret is your identity is safe with me. I will blow it up because I am tired of hypocrites. I am tired. It's so annoying. They want to act like they're holier than thou, that they're better than everybody else. You know, in public, they want to say stop this, stop that, and all that. And then behind closed doors, what are they doing? What are their kids doing?
That's insane. Especially like what Vessel. Hey Afro, hey everyone. So I just wanted to just touch on the the hypocritical thing. I think this is very lovely to have this conversation because this is also is destroying a lot of homes, and you see people, men who just do not like their wives, and you're asking what's wrong with this couple, and aside from the basic misogyny and everything, most likely this is a closeted man, and he's taking out his violence, his anger on this woman or something, and it's happening a whole lot just because they're not able to be with who they love. There are also a lot of people, they are feeling very suppressed, especially in Nigeria. You have a lot of people, they're not able to be who they are. And it's leading to either higher rates of suicide or, a lot of terrible things. So I think it's high time we table this conversation because it's serious. You hear parents disowning their children, kicking their children out of the house over another form of indoctrination. I mean, you gave birth to this child. You can see this child, but you're choosing to, pick this child over, pick your own belief system, something you can't see, a God you can't see, over what you can see and what you birthed. So I think it's honestly madness, and it has ruined a lot of people's lives. People are not able to be themselves and walk freely in society. Now I'm hearing a lot of men, what they usually do is just to drink out their issues. You know, those old men who just gather one corner, they just start drinking, and that's exactly trying to drink their problems away and drink all these issues away. But it's not going to fix anything, and it will just lead to more high rates of abuse in the home and a lot of terrible things. So that's it. That's it.
I just want to add as well, this Virgin Mary, I like your name, but
Thank
I
you.
just want to add as well, religion and patriarchy actually don't help men. It doesn't. Why do you think that men have a higher mortality rate than women? They cannot be themselves, their truer selves. And I can bet you me that, what's his name, Psychedelic or whatever he's probably gay. That's why he's fighting with all his strength. Because it's projecting. And then you're already projecting on a child that doesn't even exist yet. I don't think he has children. It's crazy.
Can I tell you a case that happened years ago when I was a student and I was placed at a sexual health clinic in Soho, London. And this particular clinic is predominantly gay men that come there. And most of them are HIV positive. So they come there to get checked, come there to get their meds, get their, it's like a small community, this place. So one day I was there, just, doing the student thing as usual. And this couple came in, Black couple, very gorgeous looking couple. Oh, wow. I couldn't help but look at this too, like, oh, wow, gorgeous. And so when a couple comes in, which that wasn't something that usually happened, because like I said, it was mostly gay men that came to that clinic. So but this couple comes in, and the procedure there is, if a couple comes in, they are not to go in together to do any checks or tests. They've got to go separate, right? So two advisors have to go with each person. So anyway, I was the one. No, we were sat in the waiting room. We had the staff waiting room, and so one advisor went to the man, another one went with the woman to go and do whatever test it was that they wanted to do. So the one that went in with the man, within a few minutes, he came back out, came to the staff room and said, oh my goodness, oh my goodness, oh my goodness. He has just revealed something to me. Like, okay, what did he reveal? You could see the guy getting all red, right? In his face. What does he reveal to you? The man revealed to the advisor, look, I am HIV positive. I already know that I am HIV positive, but I didn't know. Let me mute Eric. Says, I didn't know how I was going to tell my wife. And she's not too long joined me here in the UK. I am from a royal family, and our marriage was arranged many years ago, and to carry on the family legacy, I had to marry her. He said he was already, he's an established gay man here in the UK. They know him, in bars and everything, but because of family obligations, he has to go back and go and marry that girl and bring her back here. And as much as he tried to keep his private life quiet, he just found out then that he had caught the HIV. So anyway, the clinic, they decided, okay, they will help. They made it look like it was in the clinic there that he discovered he was HIV positive. Now, This lady, she was only 20, he was 28 and she was 25, I think. Anyway, but they called the two of them out. They came back out, then called them in, and they were in there for a long time. So me, I had to go. But the next day, I had to find out what exactly happened with the couple. Thankfully, her test came back negative, but they had to break it to her that the man has this HIV. So this is the trouble when you don't let people live their true identities, when you don't let people be themselves, they will now be hiding things. And thankfully, he didn't pass it on to the lady, and I don't know what happened after then. But how many women can confidently say that their husbands, are not on the down low? Huh? There was another white man came to have his test done, and I went in with one of the advisors. And normally they will ask the client, "Hope you don't mind that the student sits in your session." No, it's okay. The white man said, "It's okay." He was very effeminate. This guy was. So he said, "No, he doesn't mind. He doesn't mind me sitting." He said, "In fact," he said, "look at your skin." He said, "I love the black skin. Oh, it's so gorgeous. Look, the man was busy touching my arm. I'm like, excuse me." So anyway, they asked him all the questions, what kind of, listen, when it is the questions they ask gay men. Oh my goodness. The kind of questions that they ask, just to try and get a picture of these sorts of things they engage in, so they know what kind of tests to do. It was in that clinic that I learned a lot about and I kept asking, please, what is fisting? Please, what is rimming? What is they would laugh and laugh and laugh at me because, I didn't know any of those terms, right? And most of the advisors there were also gay themselves, right? Some of them, the advisors as well, they too were HIV positive, right? So anyway, it was such a lovely community these people had over there. So anyway, this man says, please, he's going to ask for a favor, because in the clinic then they used to send text messages. So they will send you a text message if everything is okay, right? They just text you and say, "Oh, everything came back good," right? So get your text, you're happy. But if there's anything wrong, they will call you and tell you to come into the clinic. Then they'll break it to you and all these things. So the guy said, please, he needs our help. He needs his results on paper. He said, because he started dating this black man, but he's married with children. And the wife must not know. And the man said, look, I will not engage with you until I know what your status is, because I cannot afford to take it back home to my wife. Anything, I cannot afford to take it. So yeah, says the black man says, before we can go all the way, I need to see it, the test, I need to see. So yeah, they gave him his test on paper and he took it to his lover. I said, meanwhile, that is someone's husband though. There's a wife and children that don't know what daddy's getting up to. So listen, I would rather a world where people can be themselves, so we don't have all these cool career movements. People just, having to hide and pretend, and it must be very, very draining.
I'm glad you said that, because I feel like sorry. I feel like people don't understand that, homophobia is what's causing the DL culture. And they can't grasp that aspect, because they will complain when they find out that, if the when a woman, Christian woman finds that her husband is secretly gay, some of them would get angry, start complaining, like, why didn't you tell your wife? Why weren't you honest? It's like, how could they be honest, especially in countries where they have no, legal rights? And they'll tell them, oh, why can't you just get up and leave and go live your lifestyle somewhere else? Which again, is not a lifestyle. Not everyone is, has the privilege to get an airplane and just get a visa into a Western country to live their life. But they will still want to uphold all the homophobia and then go and complain about how, there are people who are out here marrying people and damaging families. Another reason is like, some of them know this, but they don't care. Like, do you see some Nigerian women who find that someone is gay and they will still try to find a woman for them to marry, knowing full well that woman will never be happy with that man. But they think they're saving that man. And they're just doing it to just destroy more families.
Ironically, so I've never been with a woman before, but knowing what I know, I will never be with a man ever again. However, when I first told my childhood friends, like, hey, I think I'm quite fluid. I'm still trying to find myself and all that. Do you know what my girlfriends told me? It said it's a phase. I'm like, what do you mean it's a phase? Like, how do you know? They're like, oh, we tried it in secondary school. We tried it in university. And I'm like, I never tried anything with any woman before. So you have done it and you're married. All of them are married, but they've tried it before and they told me it's a phase. And I'm like, yeah, it's a phase. Definitely. You have to say that you're married. What else would you say? If you were interested in women at one point in time, you could explore their bodies at one point in time. You tell me it was a phase? Seriously?
You see, they tell on themselves. They don't know they're exposing themselves when they say those things. Like, oh, I've dabbled, but like now I'm living my straight life. And they make it seem like, even when or whatever his name is, was trying to seek you control and suppress it. These are people that genuinely believe that this type of thing is something you can suppress. And once you suppress it, it magically goes away. And sometimes, obviously, we know it does it because then they will go and get married, and one day they want to go on the apps to go and sleep with the same gender. And sometimes, at least you have the people that get tested. Some of these people don't get tested at all. They're ready to just go at it and then go back to their heterosexual marriage. And not even deforming the woman, what he did, like how it could be damaging to her. And of course, some women don't suspect because they just assume, I'm married to a heterosexual man, so why would I suspect him sleeping with, with same gender?
Better yet, another question is a lot of women who are currently married have never even reached the peak of their sexual experience with men. Most women don't know what it is to orgasm. Isn't that crazy? Yet they bring children into the world and if your partner cannot get you to that point, what are you doing there? Like, are you sure you're heterosexual or are you forced by society? And these are people who are telling me that it was a phase. How?
Afro, I'll be going now.
They're Christians, by the way. They're Christians, by the way.
Okay.
It's easy to detect them.
Yeah, Derek, I'm going now. Thank you so much, everyone. It was nice conversing with you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And these are the kind of conversations we need to carry on having. And do you know something, guys? There's some people on this app that amaze me, and I'm inspired by them. The kind of conversations that they have. Example, some of those people, Mr. Zeal over here, Adad Daddy, I read your story, and I don't know what to say, but you are inspirational, Adad Daddy, and I hope that you whatever that happened to you, I hope that you have healed or you are healing and able to move on from it. That's another one. Okay, let's see. I think what's her name? She was up here just now.
Thank you, Thank you, Afro Atheist. I really appreciate it. I do. Thank you.
Do you care to share? Do you care to share about that, Daddy, or no?
I can. It's almost 3:30 a.m. because I'm in Dubai at the time on vacation as a result. But regardless, it is. So as I said, it was sexual assault on me, rape, by someone I trusted, someone I grew up with in church environment, and it's almost insane these days for you to hear that you go to someone's house, and you expect to be raped, right? Yet society says to the woman, what took you to a man's house? So if he came to my house, would he expect that I would drug him and rape him? If he came as a, and that's the way our society kind of looks at things. But as I said, I had the ability to take him to court. It's my field. But when I did my soul searching, I said, nah, there's no use for that, because it will replicate. It would, how will I put it? He shamed me publicly. Therefore, the shame goes back publicly. I carried that burden for 15 years, and I cannot no longer carry that burden. My healing process is there, showing you it affected my weight. That's another thing that people need to understand, is that a lot of survivors are people who are unable to hurt other people. They are unable to, because hurt people. So they internalize the hurt. They start to hurt themselves. For me, it was food that was my ability to hurt myself, because I never, ever wanted to be seen as pretty again. Never, by any human being. So I'll be taken advantage of. I started to put on weight so that no one would carry me, or before you could drug me, it would be like drugging an elephant. You have to use do you understand? Like, that was my psychology at the time. Like, this should never happen to me again. Or was it because I was sexy at the time? Because I had a great shape and a great body and all of that? Okay, fine, let's destroy it. How can we possibly destroy it, right? Let's be as ugly as possible to deter every. Do you know what that means? That someone does that to themselves. And mine is even small. Some other people, and yet the church is quiet. Yet, and you see, the thing is that he surrounded himself with people I knew from church, people I knew from high school who are also from church, and family friends. And it's crazy that when I said my story, very few people from family and church reached out. In fact, the church that my father preached and pastored, and is still recognized as their best pastor ever, it's still silent. I wrote them a letter, just like Paul wrote to the church, and I said, I'm resigning from this church. I'm taking away my membership because you guys hush down survivors, and then you still preach on the pulpit and tell them to forgive. Forgiveness is, it might be part of the healing process, but forgiveness cannot be demanded, especially when you know the corporate has no intention to change. In fact, forgiveness is almost seen as a right to be given to the perpetrator. When we know that the perpetrator first has to be accountable to what they've done and do soul searching and find out how to make it right with themselves first, so that they never hurt somebody again. That is the only time forgiveness can happen. But the church has made it almost so easy for women. It's forgive the man, forgive, he cheats on you as a wife, he cheats on you severally. They tell you pray the righteousness out of him. He brings diseases home. That's what marriage is about. God will hold you faithful and accountable to this on Judgment Day. Like, how did you still perform as a wife? Like, this is part of what life is. That's what Christianity teaches women in the church. However, turn the tables around. The woman cheats on the man. It's public knowledge. Oh my God, forgiveness no longer exists. Why didn't God forgive the one who taught us to forgive? Why didn't He forgive Adam and Eve? Sorry.
Gosh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm sorry you had to go through that.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that all of us have a story, and it makes us who we are. We cannot shy away from it any longer, right? If we have to be authentic selves, then we have to be authentic selves. And you would not imagine the outpour from young girls to me. And I'm like, I did not ask for this. I did not ask for this. And theirs is even worse. 20-year-old girls, their fathers, their stepfathers, people. And my letter out there was was like a victory to women who cannot even speak, because we know that 1 out of 4 have been essayed. We also know that's research. 1 out of 4 women. So look at your families, all the women in your family. 1 out of 4. If you have 8 women in your family, that means 2 of them have experienced it. And I wonder why men are not asking their sisters, asking their cousins, asking their nieces, has this happened to you, and who did it? Who did it?
Most of
But
them
yet,
most of them are busy doing it to others.
Exactly.
That's why
Exactly.
they can't ask. They can't ask because
Exactly. 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 And the first people to tell me to keep quiet, guess who?
We already know.
Men.
We already know.
Men. And then women who are, married. Women who are married. And you know the funny thing, my best friend at the time who I told this to.
Those are the pick-me's.
Yeah.
Pick-mishas.
My best friend who I told this to told me there was nothing that could be done about it. And then years later, I started to understand that, wait, I never slept in her house when her husband was around. I was only allowed to sleep in her house when her husband wasn't around. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Because what he did was, after he had drugged me, and so when he forced himself out inside me, that's when I woke up to consciousness and saw that what he was doing, but I couldn't move. And then I slipped back to being unconscious, just to wake up in the morning naked, totally in a different location that, I was upstairs when my room was downstairs, things like that. And I begged for answers. Do you know what it means for you to lose time and not know that you lost? Not like when you go under the knife, like for surgery, you have signed and consented that time frame, or whenever during that time frame you'll be out of consciousness. That time you cannot recollect that time, right? Somebody else has to tell you what happened during that time. Imagine someone taking your time from you, knowing what happened, and you're asking, please, can you just let me know? Even if he lied, even if he said, oh, you were drunk, don't you remember? Something. I begged for 15 years, give me an answer, please. Please, just let me know what happened. I can't recollect what happened. Sorry, I'm at the beach, so you probably just hear the tractor, they're clearing up the beach. I apologize, but I begged. And even when he moved to the States, he thought, oh, okay, I could no longer. That's another thing. A lot of men who have left the shores of Nigeria have committed so many atrocities. They feel that their victims can never get to them. He never thought that I'll come to his same level of playing field. Another thing I just want to point out is, you see, the thing is, from secondary school, he always portrayed himself as someone who came from a rich family. You know those people in high school that parade themselves like, oh, I'm from a wealthy family, and they start becoming bullies from that time? They become the popular ones, and to keep that popularity, they keep, especially with boys love validation from boys. And that's why when my ID said, you guys, men love validation from men. Why don't you just stick together and continue that harmony? But nah, a woman has to be in the mix for you to feel, especially a woman that you can control, has to be in the mix. Anyways, that's just my 2 cents. It's just sad. It's sad. And the girls that keep coming to my DMs and saying that was a victory for them. As I said to my corporate, go to court. You have to prove. He wants to take me to court for defamation. I'm like, sweetheart, you have no idea what defamation is. You have to prove that what I said is a false statement. And I have evidence. I have witnesses. Someone came to pick me up from your house that particular morning because I didn't know what to do. So someone saw me in your house, and of course, his lawyer's letter says that we've never met after secondary school. So how did I know your house? How did I enter your house? How did I sleep in your house? How did someone come and pick me up from your house that day? We went for a party the night before. People were there. But yeah, so I'm still waiting for the defamation case. As I said, the legal field is my place. So it will cost me really nothing or less. It will cost him a financial toll on his family and his wife. We go to the same church. We went to the same school. We are family friends. His best friend if I were to walk down the aisle, I would ask his father to walk me down the aisle. That kind of thing, that kind of respect, because my dad is late, right? If I ever want, I was not get married in that way, but that's, so he surrounded himself with people I know. He's the only one I don't know. He's the only one I only knew from secondary. I don't even know his family. He's the only one I knew from secondary school, but he surrounded himself with people I knew from, that my parents know, my families have relationships with. That is narcissistic to such a, and you know, and that's why victims don't talk. 97% of victims are quiet. They can't speak because the person who did that to them, they know. They know. Rape usually happens between someone you know. And that's why it's difficult to understand how someone you know could do that to you. Do you understand that I was out of consciousness and he could have stabbed me right there and there? I mean, he could, my heart right there. Because I cannot recollect what happened. Like I lost time. And I begged for the person, the only person who knew what happened during that time, because I knew what happened, but you know, I only knew what happened for those short minutes, right? I wanted to know, what, I kept on begging, please tell me what happened. And then he went ahead to go spread his escapades. You know how boys, it was a bachelor's night, they were there to support their guy. You know how gist is, whatever. At least I've been to, what's the name, bridal showers and all of that. And there he was boasting about how he had violated me, but he made it seem consensual. Do you see the conundrum? If you made something seem consensual and the person is still asking you what happened, obviously there's no consent. So he tied himself by himself, and he still has a couple of days for defamation. I said I'll still continue to speak to him about it. He wants to do it in Canada, no problem. I will drag everybody to bring lawyers to Canada. If they want to pay in dollars, they should come. So, as Afro-atheist said, sometimes these things happen to us, and we have to have a voice. Some of us have to have a voice for others to either find peace or healing in their own way, or even start to speak about it. But I didn't expect the overwhelming from strangers, and that's the irony, from strangers. My family, friends, they're still silent. They're still silent. But we win. We rise. We rise. We rise.
Like Afro-Eti said, you're really brave to even speak on that. Oh God. I get the fact that like how scary it is, especially someone that you knew. Are you still in, like I'm sorry to ask this, but do you like your family that know him, are they still in contact with him where they just don't take your story seriously and they just sit there and watch you knowing full well that this is a situation and they're still hanging around with him?
Who are you talking about?
No, her friends and family that know about this person that she grew up with, that harmed her, and they're still talking to him because it's like if you're my friend and told me someone harmed you, I can never be around that person.
But the thing is,
people don't. So the thing is, what he's done is they do, and what he has done is, you see, you also should be very careful of philanthropists. What he has done is go back to my high school and be part of the committee and all of that. For me, being a victim, I blocked everything and everybody close to it because when I started to speak to friends, in fact, it was the death of my friend at 39. She would have been 40, May 30th, that broke up the wrecking ball. The reason is she, who died at 39, when I went to visit her for the first time after she got married, I went to her house. And this is someone who grew up in America. And I went to her house and there was no seats. Like they only had a bed on the floor. And I was like, what? What kind of marriage is this? And well, you know, we had to go out for lunch and all of that. And while we were talking, I was like, at that time, the culprit or the the perpetrator was just about to get married to my family friend, which was also a family friend to this other person I'd gone to see. So I'm like, hey, I need to warn this girl that the person she's about to marry or the person she's thinking about marrying is not who he says he is. And she looked at me and said, nah, he's from a good family. He's this. He even has money and all. Look at what I got myself into. I'm like, that's people who have money and who have a good face does not automatically mean that they're good. She did not believe me. I begged her. She did not believe me. So I let it be. And she suffered in her marriage. My friend suffered in her marriage drastically till she passed on at 39. After having 3 kids for a man, moving back home to her father's house, being mistreated in her father's house, her kids, she couldn't even pay school fees, 50,000. But you see, the thing is, I was at the same location with her at the time. And every time she tried to reach out to me, I'll send her to church. I'll send a prayer to her, or I'll not even answer her call. Because I'm like, that's the life you chose. I'm not, that's the life you chose. When I came to you to help rescue another, you told me, at least, the guy comes from a good, you didn't believe me. So after she died, and then I was talking to other friends who knew our friend who died, and they started to narrate the diabolical things she went through. She's Northern, she married an Igbo man, and in fact, the moment she passed on, he took her body to Imo State that she has never been to. Immediately, her parents don't know, and now he wants to do the biggest funeral he can, but could not pay 50,000 for his children as school fees. He said, unless he has access to her body, she will not see money. So 4 months left in September of last year, when things really got tough because her parents have retired and all of that, he started making a little money. I said, okay, I can pay for this, for the kids' school fees, bring them closer. So she moved back to Lagos where he was, and I started separation process, the divorce process and all of that. They are currently separated and all of that. Between September to February, this girl passed on without not an accident, nothing, just like that. She Friday in the hospital, Saturday gone. And everyone's like, how did a healthy person who has been with her family for over 8 years come back and within 5 months of staying in the same house with that person, pass on just like that? And then within the same day of her being passed on, her body shipped. So you can imagine with that. And then also my friends who are my childhood friends, who were all talking about this same girl going through her terrible experience. They are not even in better marriages. They are going through their own stuff, terrible stuff.
Of course.
Do you know how bad it was? Do you know how bad it was? It was bad because I went to my friends, the same girls, we were all talking. I was like, you know what? I know that change of environment changes perspectives, and you guys are stuck. You no longer can see your light because you've been dimmed in this marriage. Let me take you guys for an all-expense paid trip to Seychelles. I know that you guys still have Nigerian passports, so let's go to a country that is beautiful, but visa-free for Nigerians. Do you know they came up with every excuse in the book, including my passport is expired. I'm like, oh, we still have time. Oh, I can't take time off. Okay, it's going to be Easter. Oh, where do I keep my kids? Are you serious?
Your husband will not want them to go now.
Yeah. So they all refused. 4 of my married friends refused. And all I asked them for was their name as written on their passports, because I didn't know whether it was their surname had changed, if they had changed that on their international passport, or if it was their maiden name, which I knew. And I also have their date of birth, because that's all you need to book a flight. And I was willing to pay all expense paid, flights, tickets, hotel, food, all the entertainment, the tours, every single thing for 4 friends, including myself, 5. But no. So I was like, you know what? Yeah, I'm telling you the truth that you already know you live very terrible lives, because a lot of my friends, I knew them from when they were kids, and their light was so bright. I thought I was the least amongst them. Like, you know, that kind of thing, that I will not even see her backlight, if this girl was not married, backlight, all of them. Yet me, the single one, is saying, girls, this is, one of them was suicidal in 2020. He was on suicidal watch. She still married him. And I beg these ladies, please, let's go. Because I believe that once you change your environment, you start to see, and then they still believe that God says, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find. And I'm like, I begged, I wrote. In fact, it got to a point that I wanted to talk to the husbands to see if they would. But that was when I drew the straw. I said, I will not talk to these men who have treated you horribly, who have cheated on you. In fact, you have videotapes of women's, you know, in your face. You know who they are because he has taped and taped and taped and forgot his hard drive in your car. Yet, no, sorry. Don't waste your money, they say. Don't waste your money on us. Don't waste your money. I'm like, okay, yeah, you guys know my story, and I know I haven't said it out. And it's like, I am not living my truth. Maybe that's why you're not living your truth. So here we go. Yes, this burden has held me down for such a long time. I know that I haven't been able to do my best because every time I think about it, I think, what will people say? How would this happen? So yes, let me do my hard. Hopefully it'll help you do your hard. That's how it happened. That's how it happened.
Ada, thank you so much for sharing. Guys, I'm going to have to go. I've got a meeting first thing in the morning. But yeah, interesting conversation. And you see how the religious bigots today, they haven't come on. Oh, you're not talking about Jerry Eze today. You're not talking about this person today. Wait tomorrow now. When we have Jerry Eze up, watch them say every day. That's the only thing you talk about.
Oh, my friends are NSPPDNs, by the way. They kabash every 12. What's it? 1 o'clock or 1 o'clock my time, but 7 a.m. They kabash every day, praying for the righteousness to come out of a man.
Ugh, gosh, it can never work. Never. Just prayers don't do nothing. They do nothing. Anyway, people. Okay, I got to go. Who is this one? Tarzan in the comments, the frustrated Christian. Guys, if you want to know the epitome of a frustrated Christian, that one in the chat that they call Tarzan, that guy there.
Oh yes, that one.
Oh, that's
Hi, everyone.
Good night,
Praises. Thank you so much for this platform. Thank you, everyone. Have a great night.
Yo, have a good night.
Anyway, everybody, good night. Good night, folks.
No, Afro, I just want to tell Tarzan something. Tarzan, carry your small bowler and go and wash. Go to sleep, okay? Good night, everyone.
Good night, Vessel.